And we're
Okay,
here.
we're live.
Toast it up.
All right, toast it up, fellas. Gosh, y'all know what
Nah, I
it
don't even
is.
worry about it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Hey,
why you
man.
upset, man?
You know.
Oh, we having some issues, fellas. All right, hold on. Let me fix it. We having some issues.
Coming back. We still live though. Um, all right, while we waiting and still live, you know what I'm saying, Sixers kicking ass again. You know what I'm saying? We up 14 on the Bulls. Bulls supposed to be the best team in the league. That's what somebody told me. I don't know who told me that.
What quarter is it?
You know what I'm saying? Right up at halftime. You know what I'm saying? About halftime up 14. You know. Just like, man, three starters out. We still up 14. You know what I'm saying, man?
And we like, hey, it's like the second or third week of the season, man. Calm down a little
Yeah,
bit.
I know, but three starters out though. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't know if other teams is pulling that off. I
But
don't know if
not,
they're
hey,
doing that right.
what's up, OTC? Now that we on that topic though, man. What's funny, Mark? It's people's willingness to give Ben Simmons a pass. I saw
Yeah,
that
I
quote
know. You know what I'm saying?
in
You know,
sports and shit.
I'm gonna say like this for the people who, especially the people in SNS, right? Listen, the old school that I used to be a guidance school counselor at, it's still there, right? I can call them and have them hire you. And let's see how you want to deal with some mental health there in Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. I don't think y'all sign up for that. Y'all sign up for the Ben Simmons mental health, but the real mental health that people really actually go through, they won't sign up for that. Nah. You know what I mean? They don't want that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean, Stacks? They don't want the real side of it. They just want to, clickbait and ESPN articles and stuff like that. They don't actually want to
Well,
deal with it for real.
my thing is you got players, Calvin Ridley, Naomi Osaka. Typically, they step away from the sports.
Mm-hmm.
But in a day and age where if you don't report and things like that, you you lose money. You
Yep.
know, to me, it's just
Mm.
and it's kind of a slippery slope when we talking about mental health.
Yeah.
Because that's that card. That's that thing that you really don't want to say. Oh, whoa, you faking it or whatever. But at the same time, you got the ones out there that's kind of disingenuous.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I don't know, man. I don't know. I
Makes
don't
it
know.
hard on somebody who might actually have an issue. And that's what's going to be the problem. When so many guys, you know, are really going to scream mental health, and then somebody who actually really has an episode, a panic attack, a nervous breakdown, or whatever. And I'm just like, this is why it's not cool to do this. Like, if you're really not having that much of a problem, you know, and somebody's really going through it, like, yeah, look, I got a loaded gun in my hand. I'm all alone and I'm depressed. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be somebody like that, and then people, oh man, well, he's acting like this guy, he's acting like that guy. You know what I'm saying? And then something happens.
But let me
So
ask
be
you this.
careful with that.
Let me ask you this, so to be fair. I know that Danny and Paul had posted that the Sixers holds just much liability as Ben Simmons as far as this whole situation. What do you think about that?
No, not as much. Now, could they have made a move? I guess. Yeah, I mean, they weren't obligated to trade him. And you definitely correctly pointed that out. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're the general manager, your job is to get the best deal, not the first deal, not a deal you might not like. Job is to get the best deal. You know what I'm saying? That's your job.
Well,
You know what I
and
mean?
that's why I mentioned that, Mark, because it's almost as if, well, we're blaming Philly because they should have traded him. They have no obligation to trade him, and this is a business at the same time, so they're going to obviously
Hmm.
look for the best deal. I mean, you have some folks out there that be like, well, if they don't want to deal with him, they should just cut him. But I mean, that ain't good business. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-mm. Nope. You know what I'm saying? I was just like, man, I was just like, look, we're gonna see how long it goes on, but obviously, it's early in the season, but the team, not having too many problems, with him not being there, they still able to play, still able to compete. So I was just like, we'll just kind of see how it goes, man. I'm pretty much gonna be done talking about it, you know what I'm saying? Until he either shows up or he's on another team. I'm kind of washing my hands with the guy personally, just let it be what it be. And it's just like, oh, the Philly fans, they were too rough on him. I think we were very nice to him, to be honest, for a lot of years. I've seen a lot worse, heard a lot worse about your favorite athletes, your favorite rappers, you know what I'm saying, being in this city, and it really went left. And it ain't went left for Ben. Ben never been punked out here in public. You know what I'm saying? People, weren't mean to him in public or nothing like that. So I don't really understand the fan part, because I'm like, if you want to hear some real stories, you know what I'm saying, you can ask me. I can guarantee you I can pull up, for some stuff about your favorite, for your favorite people coming to this city, playing in this city, and it went left for them. That didn't happen to Ben. I thought we treated him fair under the circumstances. But anyway, but let's move on. I know we got some icebreakers. I'm interested to hear, all of them. But you know what? I'm gonna go first because mine's is pretty mild. I want to get the stacks. You know what I'm saying? I know Merv got something crazy, but I'm gonna go first. Icebreaker. This is real. This is kind of mild, but it's a good thing. Mikey Williams, the high school basketball player, just signed a deal with Puma. This is the first of its kind that a high school athlete had signed a mega deal like this. I'm gonna tell you, the thing is, when you think about this deal and you think about him being in high school, I'm like, man, I'm gonna say like this: you gotta be proud of the OG LeVar Ball, because he's the one that got this whole thing rolling for these guys to be able to get their money and do what they need to do. You know what I'm saying? I don't even think none of this would be on the table without LeVar Ball. You know what I'm saying? And he has to get his props again. Now, here's the part that I really want to get to. I love the deal that he signed. He's coached by his father, by the way. Shout out to, for Mikey Williams' father. And another thing, they formed their own team. So they're just playing competitively against the best high schools in the country. Now, here's my problem, and I'm going to call out ESPN and all y'all high school rankings. Y'all pushing him down the rankings because I think it seems like because he's doing his own thing and he's not following tradition, like they did to LaMelo Ball. By the way, they did the same exact thing. You look up LaMelo Ball, he's ranked 10th, then he's ranked 20th, then he's not even ranked. I'm like, you're telling me, telling me it's 100 high school players better than LaMelo Ball, and I was talking then. You know what I'm saying? That proved to be extremely wrong. You know what I'm saying? Right. But they put Mikey Williams was all the way up at number 1, and then all of a sudden he starts sliding and sliding and sliding, and I'm just like, just because he's an individual and wanted to do his own thing. And you know where that kicked off? When he said, you know what, going to a HBCU sounds like a pretty good idea. The moment he said that, they started lowering his name because he ain't gonna follow the tradition. Mm-hmm. And guess what? He don't have to. And now that these deals came in place and he able to get his money and cash out right now, I'm just like, yo, you know what? Don't try to damage, what he's supposed to be, at the NBA level. Don't try to push him down, his draft stock down. He's eligible for the 2024 class, but don't try to sully his name just because he ain't doing what you want him to do. Shame on you, ESPN, and shame on them other basketball rankings. I seen these high school players play. He's the best. Now, if you want to debate whether him or DJ Wagner, that's DeJuan Wagner's son, out in Camden, are the best, that's fine. But you telling me it's 15 other guys better than Mikey Williams? You must be smoking crack if you think that.
Mikey Williams he out of there. He out of Philly, right?
No, Mikey Williams. You know what I'm saying? I want to say like, he played in Cali. and now his dad started the school, I think in North Carolina.
He's
I
in
think
Charlotte.
for they run it. Yeah, they run down to North Carolina.
They ran
You
to
know.
they was in Charlotte over there by over there close to Concord area.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
they was out there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I'm proud of the young fella. Him and his dad, you know what I mean, for making moves, and it kind of reminds me of how LeVar Ball did, with his boys. So salute to the Williams, you know what I'm saying? And I was just like, man, I'm continue, to watch their journey. I know my nephew's gonna want the sneakers when they come out. I will be glad to buy them a pair of those. You know what I'm saying? Just to support the cause.
Pumas. I would never rock Pumas.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm all for that young man making that money. And my thing is that as much money as these kids make for high schools, for that matter, top prep programs, we know the tremendous amount of revenue that these kids drive at the college level.
Right.
So why not? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm happy. I don't give a fuck who mad about it, but all I can say is get your money. You're right. I mean, I was one of those ones. I thought LeVar Ball was crazy when he came out talking crazy about his kids and all that shit. But I ain't got no problem meeting Crow. Because LeVar Ball, he did what any good father would do. My son's this, that, and the third. And they got 3 sons that's in the league or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, they ain't half bad. What could you say though?
Right.
Yeah.
2 out of 3 balling right now. No pun intended.
Yeah, two in the NBA, 1 in G League. I'm just, they all professionals, man. You know what I'm saying? You said that was going to happen, and it did.
Absolutely. So I'll go next, man. My icebreaker. Mine kind of extending into the realm of basketball. I kind of wanted to talk about. I didn't want to talk about it, but I kind of do. It's Pippen, man. Scottie Pippen, man. You guys know I'm a huge Pippen fan. I've always been a Pippen fan from day one. But man, Pippen is starting a trip, man. He's on this campaign trying to sell his book, and he's really shitting all over MJ, man, like crazy. It's sad because he's using certain words and certain things like buzzwords to get the attention of the masses when he's talking about how Jordan did the Last Dance doc just to show people that he's still better than LeBron and things of that nature. And although I do not agree with Stephen A. Smith all the time, I probably never agree with Stephen A. Smith. But Stephen A. Smith made a valid point. He said, with Mike's ego and who Mike is, he has no reason to ever believe that LeBron is even close to who he is. And he would never even sign off on doing a documentary of himself if that was, him trying to sell himself to be better than LeBron. Because he doesn't see LeBron as an equal or even anyone close to testing his legacy. The people out there, the fans out there are the ones who create this argument about LeBron and Mike, which is there's really no race, to be quite honest. If you really break it down to brass, there's really no debate. There's really no argument. It's just the fans who have their pick, and it's okay for a fan to have their pick. They like who they want to like, but technically there's really no argument. But Pip threw that out there as if throwing slight to Mike, as if Mike's ego is just that big that he wants to do the Last Dance and shitting on Mike for no reason at this point. And we all watched the documentary and we all loved the documentary. We all lived through that documentary when that stuff was going live. We remember what Jordan had to deal with. We remember how Pip was really a good Robin. He was the definition of the Robin to someone's Batman. He was the first. And during the era where they were like not really super teams, but they were really solid teams. When you had a starting 5, you had a true starting 5. The Boston Celtics had a true starting 5. The Detroit Pistons, a true starting 5. The Knicks, true starting 5. The Bulls never had a true starting 5. They had a rotation of a bunch of role players, and then Michael Jordan was at the center of that, and Pip was a great sidekick to him. And now Pip is at a point where he's attacking Mike because he's embarrassed by some of the things that were displayed in The Last Dance, where he should be embarrassed by Future scooping up his wife. You know what I mean? So he's focusing on the wrong things, man. He's focusing negative energy on the wrong stuff when he should really be talking about how he's going to get back at Future for getting at his wife, man. So I don't know if you guys had a chance to read up on some of that stuff. It actually was buzzing a lot the past 48 hours.
Yeah.
But it's starting to become sickening, man. I'm disappointed in Pip. I'm a big Pip fan, and I hate to see this. I really hate to see this because not only is he shitting on Mike, he was talking about Phil being racist. He was talking about Paxson. He was talking about Tony Kukoc. He's talking about everybody, but he's not pointing the blame at himself in the things that he's done to knock up the cause for the Bulls to win what they was winning. So
putting that surgery off, he didn't bring putting that surgery off. He didn't put that up. He didn't bring that up in his book.
Right. You know what he did bring up though that I thought was kind of foul, and I don't know if he did it because he had to get off his chest, but he said now he looking back at it, he kind of had an excerpt. He kind of regrets not reaching out to Mike when Mike's father passed away, and that tells you where that dude's head is at, man. Like you would never think all these years, you know, again, growing up, being, you know, watching the dynasty of the Bulls and watching Mike and Pip on the court. You know, you remember when Pip was grabbing Mike off the court. Mike had the flu game when he was really sick, and Pip kind of holding him to get him off the court. You would never think during that whole time Pip was really jealous of not getting that shine that he thought that he should have been getting, playing alongside the best player who ever played the game. And for him to even put in his book that he regrets not reaching out to Mike when Mike's father passed away, I don't think Mike's going to forgive him for that, man. Like I think whatever opportunity they had to salvage things, although this book is coming out really soon and Pip really trying to sell this book, I think that he probably put a nail in that opportunity for them to be able to reconciliation, because I can't see it happening, man. And I wonder if Clutch Sports are actually co-writing this book as well to help LeBron's legacy. You know what I mean? Because that's all Pip is doing. He's trying to knock down Mike a peg or two. At the same time, he's trying to bring LeBron up, in my opinion. So
let me ask you this: is Pip strapped for money?
You know he is. He signed bad contracts.
Well,
and probably blew through some money too. You know, on top of that.
My thing is, I mean, Pippen is wrong, but I got a theory as to why he's doing what he's doing. Because I mean, what better way? I mean, you got the era of the LeBron stands out there. So what better way to sell books than to make most of your book content as far as shitting on Jordan? I mean, that's going to sell.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is.
Right.
It just is, in my opinion. It's unfortunate that everything that they did as far as basketball and that dynasty that they had in Chicago, it's unfortunate that after all of that, and another reason I feel that way is simply why now? Why 25? But what's 20 years? 20 plus years later, why now? You know?
Yeah, and harboring this kind of energy. Wow, I mean, I'm like, you know, the Bulls were over in what, 98.
Yeah, one of the greatest dynasties in basketball history, and now you salty.
We're talking, I mean, almost 25 years later, and you're coming out with this type of rhetoric, this type of venom for Michael Jordan. I'm like, man, that means you had this brewing, you know, for a while, and maybe didn't know how to get it out. And then it's just like, yo, you know, somebody came to you and just like, look, I got a check for you. You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and spill it. And you just like, man, I would have spilled it for free, but if you gonna pay me, you know, it's just it's uncalled for. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, every team from high school, college, pros has their adversity. You know what I'm saying? Any team, if you've ever been a part of a team, it's gonna have some adversity in it. But it doesn't mean like, oh yeah, you know, years later, you know what I'm saying, let me slam, you know what I'm saying, whoever I play with. You know, it's just uncalled for to me, you know?
Right.
Yeah, it's sad, man, because again, I'm a huge Pippen fan. I thought that, you know, with Pip and Mike being like, you know, the dynasty that they helped create it. I'll be honest, I think if Mike did not have Pip, if he would have had another player that was decent, I don't think you would have still stopped Michael Jordan. I'll be honest with you. And again, that sounds crazy because you can't really say the Bulls' legacy without adding Pip too, because he played a huge, huge role He was one of the first two-way players before we identified what a two-way player was. Play defense, rebound. He can bring the ball to the court. He could really do it all on the court. But let's not act like Mike didn't help Pip develop as well as a player. He definitely developed as
he did.
Right. He helped all of those guys. I mean, they were getting destroyed by the Pistons. And Pip being like a very quiet type of player on the court, didn't really have much fire in him. You watch those games against the Pistons, man. They were throwing Pip all over the place, kicking him, hitting him against the head, everything. And Mike was the first one. Like, yo, we need to get in the weight room and get right. We all know that story. So it's hard for me to like process what Pip is trying to get from here. Like again, it could be a money grab. He could be really hurt because his anger, his hurt, whatever goes way back. For him to acknowledge the fact that he didn't give Mike a call after Mike's dad passed away, that's some built up hate right there that he has. And it's starting to finally come out now. It's coming out piece by piece. Again, he may have Clutch Sports in his ear saying, yo, say this, say this, say this, shake it up a little bit. You never know, man.
You think Clutch Sports giving them all kickbacks?
Man, Clutch Sports getting everybody kickbacks right now.
Shoot, as much as they doing, you know what I mean? Shoot, Clutch Sports, they doing way too much right now.
Way too much.
I was like, man.
This is my last thing. They even had a report today, just before the show came on, that Dame was in LA with LeBron over the summer. They were trying to convince him to come to LA before they went to Westbrook. So again, Clutch Sports got their hands in everything, and they were talking about the record deal and everything about his rap career, how they can help out with all of that. Yo, Clutch Sports got their hands in everything, man.
I think that would be a good landing spot for Dame, to be honest. If you really want to look at it, yeah.
Of course you would.
That's my personal opinion myself. He'd look good in purple and gold, in my opinion.
Absolutely, of course. Yeah. So that's all I got for my icebreaker, fellas.
Yeah. All right. Hey, who's going next? Hey, Merv. What you got for us, homie?
Shit, I could go. I didn't pick I picked the old one, man, and just the I was saying we didn't get a chance. It was talked about a lot, but we didn't talk about it on here. I ain't gonna talk long because we only got 4 minutes left to 8:30 for our main topic, but. Somebody the Jada and the Will shit, man. Somebody tweeted and said, everything I've learned about Jada and Will Smith marriage, I've learned against my will.
Shit.
And that's some real shit. Like nobody they don't have paparazzis that's following their ass, trying to record every fucking thing that they say, that they do. Everything we learn has been against our will. And Jada Pinkett was saying shit, but when she get backlash, then she tries to get her feelings, or she tries to feel some kind of way. Or when her words gets misinterpreted. If you don't want your words to get misinterpreted, if you don't want to feel like you gotta come and defend yourself, then stop talking about your personal shit. You're already a fucking celebrity. So people are already looking for you, already looking for a story. You giving us goddamn stories. And here's the other thing. People are like defending Jada. If this shit would flip and Will Smith had a fucking entanglement, or Will Smith is saying shit to give the fucking media storylines, that motherfucker would be getting buried right now. Motherfucking buried. So that, I ain't gonna talk long on that shit, but I just at least wanted to acknowledge that shit. Like that tweet said, we learning all this shit against our will. We're not asking for this shit. We're not even looking for this shit. You putting this shit out there, so we're talking about this shit you putting out there for our perspective, and you feeling some kind of way. Stop talking. You made entanglement a fucking a motherfucking thing. Motherfuckers don't even call it situationships no more. We call it entanglement. And we trying to fuck with somebody with no strings attached because I got somebody, it's called entanglement. You created a goddamn word.
Absolutely.
That might be a good segue, to be honest with you.
I need to speak on this really, really quick because to your point, Merv, Jada has been getting outpouring of support. I don't know what it is, man, but I don't. Boy, she is getting defended to the death, and you got people out there, Mark, like Future. They get killed for being toxic, being this, being that, but the level of excuses that people are giving Jada Pinkett, Will Smith, whatever the fuck you want to call her, it's laughable because, like you said, Merv, if it was a dude, if it was Will, it would be burying him, man. It's funny to me, but she is getting. Y'all don't need to worry about them. Like you said, Merv, we're not worried about them. This shit comes to us via social media. I can't help what the fuck I see when I scroll.
I guess I will.
You know, like, it's just all about I got time today. Motherfucker, seem like you have time all the time at that red table.
Yeah, you always got time.
I mean, what the fuck, man? Why you mad that we seeing the shit you putting out there and commenting on it? Like,
right.
But
it's crazy. That's a good one. That's we need. Can we let this one breathe a little bit, man? Because I think we gotta let this one breathe a little bit, man. I mean,
let me do mine really, really quick, man, because we almost at the halfway point of the hour where we bring people on. Let me go to this real quick,
man.
Make mine quick, huh? Okay, got it. Okay.
We have to go back.
So we got came back today that Aaron Rodgers contract COVID. Not really a big deal. A lot of athletes been getting it, this, that, the third. It's like far and few between now cases going down nationwide. But the funny thing about this one is that Aaron Rodgers lied about his vaccination status. His vaccination status, it was a play on words. When they asked him, he's like, yeah, I'm immunized. So you got people that's defending it, you know, the anti-vaxxers and all these motherfuckers that don't think people should get vaccinated, which is fine. I think it's a personal choice myself. But Aaron Rodgers needs to get the same treatment that Kyrie Irving is getting as far as the vaccination thing, in my opinion. And he's not going to get that because he's a straight white male, and we know that, you know, there's privilege that comes along with that. But it's selfish, in my opinion. Granted, I mean, it's a personal choice, but at the same time, you're coming out. It comes out. You came back with super set spreaders. That's what I call them, Neil. But going into a key game now, mind you, Kansas City ain't who Kansas City is falling off, or they playing bad right now. But he's going to miss that game, so we don't. I just think it's really, really funny that I want to see him get killed, like people are killing Kyrie. Mm-hmm. You know?
Yeah.
I don't like him. So I hope this is him for about the rest of the season. Honestly,
you a Cowboys fan, so you.
No, I don't like him. I like him as a man. I like him as a person. I don't like him as a person. So yeah, but Aaron Rodgers gets suspended, hopefully, and yeah, you're right, Stacks. Can we go back to Jada?
What?
Can we go back to Jada, please?
All right. What about it?
I just want to go back to that. I think we know Aaron Rodgers is a piece of shit. I think we all acknowledge that he lied. Let's go. Can we go back to Jada, please? I think the Jada situation sets up so much of our main topic for tonight. I just really think it sets it up because Jada been lying to us for years, lying to y'all for years, like for years.
Oh, so she ain't been lying to you too?
She lying to you too, nigga. You believe that shit?
When J. Cole said, I want that Will and Jada love, Merv like, man, I feel that. I want that too.
Oh, Merv a fan. Merv is a Jason Lyric fan like a motherfucker too. Yeah, even Bad Boys as well.
That's not Jason Lyric Jada. That's not Lyric.
Nigga, don't do that. Don't do that. That's the same.
That's not Lyric.
I'm trying to but when Jada came out with the entanglement, Merv was shocked. Like, I can't even believe it. You know what I'm saying? Not her.
So you throwing her away because of the? Come on, man. That was your homegirl, Merv. She used to date Tupac and all that stuff. Hey, you got some funny memes out there. Like they see why Tupac. They say Tupac died to get away from her. Something like that.
Yeah, that's what it said.
Somebody said, let them find out that Will had something to do with Tupac murder. Like,
right. Yo, that's foul, man. You know what I'm saying?
Man, Philly, stand up, man.
I want her to get the fucking Future treatment. And she's not going to get it.
Yeah,
That's what I want her to get.
yeah.
Merv, it's so bad. Future tweeted, said he want to hang with her.
Yeah.
How toxic? Like, yo,
Yo, if you are a chick and Future is tweeting you like, "Hey, we got something in common. We need to link up." You got fucked up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just that simple.
Seriously.
right.
I'm trying to tell you, you know, like people out there, if you want to,
Right.
you know,
Will she
exhibit,
get
you
a
know,
hall pass? Several.
all the male toxic shit, just go to your Instagram, type in Hoodville. You know what I mean? You got all the toxic shit on there.
Right.
I visit it every day. I have to look at Hoodville every day.
Of course
You know what
do.
I'm saying? Because there's always some mess going on in Future. You know what I mean? Is preaching the word of toxicity. You know what I'm saying?
Y'all seen the pic with the Jackson, the Derek Jackson dude with Jada face on him and Will faces on his wife.
It's, you know what I mean? Crazy, man.
Dude.
I'm like, man, you know, I seen a pic of Jada, she's like Thanos. You know what I'm saying? You know, and she got all the Infinity Stones. She holding up the hand, like, I'm like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying?
Jada's definitely the leader of that household.
Oh yeah. Well, shoot, I think a lot of people knew that though. When they got together, I think people figured that out pretty quick.
You know what I'm saying?
I tell you.
Like she be talking like she's the leader of the house, and when I look at them, I see like the old school, you know, with the Ray Charles and the Temptations. I see a 1970s marriage, but instead of Ray Charles, it's Jada Pinkett. You know what I'm saying? Because Will Smith looked like he's about to cry on the table talk after the goddamn entanglement shit came out.
Hey, when that entanglement shit came out, I would have flipped all that red table would have flipped the fuck over once you tell me it was a fucking entanglement. Fuck that. Will play himself on that one.
The camera crew had to jump on.
Yeah.
The camera crew had to jump on.
Right.
Hey, but hold on. It's one thing we're leaving out. Here's the thing, right? She didn't have entanglement with a damn stranger that she had to go to a hotel or spend money out of town or to travel. This was a nigga that they let move in the goddamn house to help him out.
Right.
She walked her ass down the hallway and called that shit entanglement.
Her son's friend.
You know who you are, Jada? You're Bobby Womack, the lady version.
God damn, Murph.
Wait a minute.
That's
You know what? And you know
That's
what?
fair, though.
You know what's crazy?
That's kind of fair, though, Sean.
That's the screen.
I'm sorry I'm in love with your woman.
But listen,
Bobby Womack was a piece of shit.
but wait a minute. But you know what's crazy? Yeah, and she'll be on our Dirty Mac segment, you know what I mean, for real soon. You know what I'm saying? But yo, seriously though, but you know what's crazy, you know what I mean, for with the Jada thing that people really, you know, kind of swept under the rug, because I guess it's her. August Alsina, you know what I mean, for has mental health issues.
Right.
He actually admitted it. He actually, you know what I mean, goes to a therapist and takes medication for it, right? So that doesn't help.
He got mental. No. But when did he have it? I bet he had it after he was fucking Jada.
He had it before. You know what I mean? Because
hey, we don't steal my joy. It got worse after fucking Jada. We put this blame on Jada. Goddammit.
Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? It got worse.
Jada got to take some blame for that mental fucked upness.
August, I agree, Merv. August Alsina is definitely the victim in this whole thing. I agree.
He is.
Yeah,
he is.
They trying to make it sound like Jada's the victim.
No.
Wow.
She took advantage of his mental health.
Hold up. A female says, why when a woman is comfortable with her sexuality and speaks up, then she got to be made the victim and talked about.
You can't be serious, man.
That's the point. I don't respond to shit like that, man, because I can't.
Somebody posted that and defending Jada.
Oh yeah. You know what I mean? You know, but this is what happens though, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when a woman is toxic, she's gonna have a great defense team. I remember posting when Cardi B said she used to rob guys, you know what I'm saying, from the strip club. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well,
oh my goodness, Cardi has a defense of life. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's okay.
Right.
That's okay. You know what? They shouldn't have been trying to get some from her anyway. You're in the strip club. That's what you're supposed to do.
Hey yo, Mark, Mark, that is definitely some Bill Cosby shit. But I guess people don't want to have that conversation. I mean, when you come out openly and say you drug motherfuckers,
yeah,
Right.
you know,
shit like that.
They said,
I think my favorite thing, man, my favorite thing, especially from the women in Philly that I heard about it, right? Boy just got caught slipping. Boy got caught slipping.
Wow.
You know, I'm like, wow, okay. You know,
man, good luck to you single guys out there. Have fun.
Yeah.
Mark have fun in these streets, man, because it's wicked out in that motherfucker.
Yeah,
man,
Man,
real.
Hey,
I mean, man,
you know
you
what I
got
do?
to know how to maneuver in these streets. You really do.
Mark,
Seriously.
Mark, we already know how to maneuver. We got to follow the Jada Pinkett blueprint. Every female we approach, yo, babe, I just want entanglement.
See how that works.
so there you have it. Jada Pinkett has enabled ain't shit niggas everywhere. So there you have it.
Listen, that's all you gotta do. And the minute, and Mark, the minute they are the one curse word, you like, hold up, you was okay when Jada Pinkett did it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's never fun when the rabbit got the gun.
Nah, exactly.
Nah,
it was good
not
for
at
the
all.
goose. It's good for the motherfucking gander.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's the new one. That is the new Dirty Macaroni.
Merv will get all kind of hate mail off of them after the comments he just made. Hey,
Oh, definitely.
Share with the group though. I like it.
I like it.
Continue to say shit like that. I love it.
Yeah, I support it.
Y'all know I don't give a fuck though.
We know this. That's why I love it.
We know.
Yeah.
Hey, shit. So let's go ahead and segue. Since we're talking about a black family, let's go ahead to the main topic. I'll post this, and then we're gonna bring our Beck on, and then we bring our guests on later. So the main topic, since we're talking about a black family just now, the black family structure in decline since the 1960s, and the home effect. And we want to talk about why did that happen, and how did we get from a strong black family structure to today's current structure. So I got a couple of things. All right, let's go ahead and bring Becca on.
What's up, everybody?
What's
happening? Party people in the building.
What it do?
Bro, y'all have me back here laughing about Jada. That right there, that's a whole part in itself.
It is.
It really is.
You know what I mean?
It sounds like it is. I just thought it was a great icebreaker, but shit.
Yeah. And you know what?
She's very much so the new. She's a predator. I'm gonna say it. I'm just going to say it. She's a predator.
There you go. You know what I'm saying?
Because I'm sure it ain't just August. I'm sure it's not just August. He's the only one that came
Nah.
I'm sure it's not just. Yeah.
No. Hey. It's every goddamn month. It's August, June, July, September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July.
It's so crazy.
You gonna have
opportunity that she gets to embarrass Will, she takes it. She has been embarrassing this nigga since the red table was created. Like, just burn that table. Baby, we don't need.
I tell you, I would have been done flipped that fucking table over. Like, you can't bring me that shit.
You know what? See, I feel bad because all I'm trying to do is get the King Richard. I just want to watch King Richard. We'll play Richard Williams. You know, and it's like I can't even get to that. You know what I mean? I gotta deal with this shit.
I don't even want to watch it, Mark.
Yeah, you're right.
All I'm gonna think about is how Jada playing this man. Like Will Smith, if you're listening, if you're watching this pod, just go ahead and cheat, bro. We're not gonna be mad. Just go ahead and cheat openly.
Several hall pass, brother.
You gotta cheat up. Cheat up and openly. We're not gonna be mad at you, Will. We will forgive you.
Yeah. And Will, any motherfucker say something to you, you're like, yo, it was just entanglement. The remix. What the fuck can they say?
Not a thing.
Will. Will, just come back to Philly, man. You've been to LA. You know what I mean? You've been to LA, man. Just come back to Philly, man. We get you right, man.
Get back to being grimy.
We get you right. You know what I'm saying? We get you right, man. Trust me. You know what I mean? For one trip to the bar with me, you're gonna be set, Will. Trust me. You good.
You know what I mean? You be set. You might get chlamydia, Estelle, but you're gonna have the time of your life. You get the mark.
Yeah, you good. You know what I mean? For real, promise. You good.
He will definitely get you with it if you go back to Philly.
Yeah.
Hey, the Mark be on Dirty Mac shit. Yo, nigga, just go get the shot.
Right.
You know, if anybody asks you like, yo, man, what's wrong with you or whatever, man? Hey, look, man, you know, it's that COVID thing happening, man. You know, I gotta get my booster.
That's a terrible STD prevention tactic right there. Damn.
Go get that COVID shot, man. You be all right. You know what I mean?
You'll be fine.
Get the shot.
Take some CMOS. You could be all right.
Hey, listen. Unless y'all try to be on this pod for 4 hours, we got to go to the fucking main.
Right. Let's get to it. Let's get to it.
Because I already know this. All right, so I'm gonna start the fuck back over because Jada. Now you fucking up our shit, Jada. Fuck you.
Right.
Come on.
We can't even start. We can't get to our fucking topic because your fucking table talk ass.
Right.
It will no disrespect. We defending you.
Right.
Not really.
All right, so we're gonna start back over. Goddamn it! Rewind. I've been talking about the family structure decline since the 1960s. The home effect, right? So I got 3 things I'm gonna read to get it started. I'll get your minds started. Start working this shit.
Okay. Get your mind great.
And my rims are spinning. Just know that just working just like them. The rims that is. So check it, right? In 1960,
Brooklyn, stand up. Jay-Z. Sorry. Bars.
My bad, Sean. All right, so hold on. All right. So in 1960, roughly 74% of whites were married, and the rate dropped to 56% in 2008. All right, that's a big drop, but not compared to the plummeting marriage rate for blacks. In 1960, 61% of blacks were married in 1960, but by 2008, it was only 32%. Blacks also get divorced more often and remarry less frequently than whites. All right, here's another one. This trend cuts across all the major racial and ethnic groups, but has been more pronounced among blacks. Fully 36% of blacks ages 25 and older had never been married in 2012. That is up from 9% in 1960. So that's in 1960, it was only at 27%. All right. For whites, the share of never married adults has doubled over that same period. In 2012, 16% of whites had never been married compared to 8% in 1960. So even though it doubled, blacks was still double that. This is just a chart right here that shows non-marital birth rates, meaning people that have it that wasn't married was having kids. So the if you look from 1940 to 1970 as a blue line, it says non-white, but it means blacks. And then the dark blue was Native American, and then the red was white. So blacks started off was already higher, with only like a 10% difference. But from 1940 to 1960 to 1970, when they started calling us blacks, we have increased more than any other race as far as like having birth out of wedlock.
Mm-hmm.
And then this right here shows a percentage of U.S. women who are currently married, but spouse present, spouse present by year. All right, this is currently married. So the blacks is in the solid black line. And if you look at 1930, we was already at the bottom, and the amount of people that was married decreased from 1930 to 2012 has decreased more than any other race. All right, so I got more, but those are for talking points. If we hit any standstill, okay. So,
Okay.
so the topic
Those
is
numbers are no shock.
what happened. What's happening with the black families? The structure of, because back then you think about Martin Luther King. It was two parent household with the black families, and the kids was a strong family structure. To now, on what's considered a black family now is a single mom and kids. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. I was coaching football in Lexington Middle School. I was defensive coordinator, and I was the only black coach on the team. So a lot of the black players, they were drawn to me because the Lexington, is a majority white area. So we had Parents' Day, okay, and one of the coaches asked one of our seventh grade black players, like, are your parents coming? And this came out a seventh grade black young man. He said, "My parents? No, just my mom coming." In the black family, your parents is your mom. In a white family, your parents is your mom and your dad.
Hold on, Merv. He said that to you verbatim.
He didn't say that to me. One of the other people on the team asked him, was his parents coming? I was just there and I heard it, and that was verbatim. That was verbatim, and this was in 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, 10 years ago.
It was in 2011.
And somebody said that out loud?
A seventh grade black boy in seventh grade, a middle schooler.
That's sad.
That's sad, but when that's all you see, I mean, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perception is reality.
But why? So the topic is why in 1960s we had a two-parent strong family unit to now it just seemed like it's single-parent household, single moms and kids. Why is that? Why has it gone to that?
Number of reasons, but
I think the first reason would be mass incarceration.
Yep, I was gonna say that.
The United States of America is the most overly policed, and we got some, as far as per capita. I don't know the numbers, but I know we are the most in prison on the planet based on per they do the per capita type deals. But I think it begins with mass incarceration. That started. Anybody ever seen 13? It goes back to that, the Netflix special about mass incarceration. The incarceration rates have raised so much, and so many things started to be criminalized. During the after Reconstruction, leading up to the Civil Rights era and all that stuff. So many things were criminalized. So a lot of the black fathers, in particular, were being incarcerated. So they're separated from their families. The whole family dynamic is thrown out of whack. And I think that's one of the sticking points. That's one of the places where it started, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Shoot, you know what? I'm gonna say like this. I agree, but I think personally though, at least from watching some different documentaries and talking to some different people, I think it's when they started taking the factories out of the cities, the urban areas, right? Because that's where if you ever for anybody still has their grandparents, or for somebody who has their grandparents, they'll tell you oh yeah, I worked at Ford Motor Company, as soon as I got out of high school, I worked at the steel mill and whatever, right? They took all those good factory jobs out. They have retirement, pensions, benefits, all of that stuff, right? So that was a way, with a black family, and they had the black infrastructure to go ahead and do their thing. Like, this is my family. I take care of them. This is where I work. This is how much money I get. This is how much I raise up each year or whatever, or quarterly or whatever. And once you took that away, then it's just like, okay, what I'm gonna do? And then they didn't have that, for the next generation coming up. So when they didn't have that, it was just like, all right, we got to figure another way. But that was like built in. You know what I'm saying? You went to high school, they had trades in schools and everything like that. So you already knew how to do some stuff. So boom, once you got to the factory, you know what I'm saying? You already kind of was ready to work. Now, it's like, it's not like that. So I'm like, man, you take away the economics from, you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to say every black person, but, a group of people in certain areas, what's left? You know what I'm saying? And then when they introduce them drugs, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, what if, it's like, well, ain't no job, but I can make this amount of money. I'm going to take the risk, you know what I'm saying? And then it leads to your point, Stacks. You know what I'm saying? The mass incarceration. You know what I mean? Why would it be how would mass incarceration happen if it wasn't no drugs or no money? You know what I mean? That come from the drugs. That part don't even happen without that.
Right.
So,
Mark, and to your point, they started taking out these trade programs out of the schools as well, especially up top. So that, because you can make good money back in the day, even if you weren't college educated, you get you a trade, you're a plumber, electrician, HVAC, one of those type deals. You can still make really, really good money and support your family. If you're doing that for a while, you can retire and do all that shit. So you take those things out of school, you take the factories away, and the industrial shit where people can go in and make pretty good money and make a living for their family. That's gone. So, like what Mark said, you're either going to hit the block, or from depression from not being able to make away from your family, you will be on them drugs.
Right.
That's what I think.
But I think I was gonna mention crime, but also feminism.
Feminist movement.
I've mentioned feminism because the original thought of feminism was to have equal rights for women. The original thought of it was to be equal to men. But what happens when you are oppressed and you finally get an inch, you take a mile. So instead of the women wanting to be equal, getting equal pay, equal opportunities, equal rights, they went above and beyond and started to create a mentality that they can be better than the man. And including in that means that we don't need y'all for everything. We don't need y'all for your money, and we don't need y'all to help raise children. So being a single mother, unfortunately, through time, has created it's like a notch under somebody's belt, and women have unfortunately and fortunately started to believe to wear single motherhood as a armor, like
badge of honor type deal,
like a badge of honor. Like, I'm a single mom. Like that's a great thing. It's like you're pronouncing the fact that you are having to raise your child by yourself. A lot of them will think that that is the shit. Like, oh, I'm a single mother. Like, you can't tell me nothing. I'm a single mother. And I remember feeling that way for a short amount of time myself. But once you start to think about it, it really put the man in a position like, well, if you don't need me, then I'm out. I'm gonna go somewhere where I'm needed. And now you have the breakdown of the family. And that has happened for so many years that now most women, some women, let me say some because I know people are butthurt, and they're like, that don't mean all. Some women
fucking disclaimers. Just talk.
Right. Some women have thought that they can they can continue with life without a man. I think that has played a big part.
Hey, Becca, let me ask you.
Hold on. Hey, hold on. I'm gonna read. Hey, Becca,
I was just gonna ask a question real quick. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Becca, that the feminist movement, right? I'm like, that started, you know what I mean, for what, in the 70s or early 70s or something like that? Or
it actually goes back further than that, but it became really, really popular around that time.
Okay. All right.
So I'm about to read, Beck, I'm glad you brought up a different angle. All right, so I got I'm about to read three more points, and then after I read those, we're gonna bring on the other guests, and we're gonna continue the deep dive. And Beck, I'm glad you brought that up, because that is something that's gonna be talked about, deep dive in as we go forward. This right says Black women, more than 70% of Black women are. This is based off 2010 census. More than 70% of Black women are unmarried, according to the 2010 census. Among those reasons are centuries of laws and customs denying Black people the right to marry, welfare policies, and the prison industry. All right, so that we spoke on that. This is where I talk about divorce rate. Caucasian American fall in the middle of 38% white women and 36% of white men going through divorce at least once in their life. Where black men and women both experience at least one divorce at a rate of 42%. All right, so this is another angle. So according to Data Center of kidscount.org, research shows that in 2015, 66% of African American kids were parented by a single parent. Of course, this doesn't mean that both parents are not sharing responsibility of raising their child, but at this rate, there's an alarming number of children not having a biological two-parent home. I'll read one more thing, and then we'll bring on the next two guests. According to the Census Bureau, from 1960 to 2013, African American children who lived in single-parent homes more than doubled from 22% to 55%.
Wow.
The same research showed that white children from single-parent homes tripled from 7% to 22% in that same time frame from 1960 to 2013.
Even the white families number went up a lot too.
Right. So I'll bring on two guests to continue to dive in this right here.
Hey, good data, but shit, that shit's kind of depressing. Fuck.
Right. When you see it in print, you're like, geez.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. This is Ife.
Hi, Ife.
Hey.
Welcome to the Guys Pod.
Good evening.
All right, and got one more. I think it's Stacks homeboy. Trey, your homeboy Stacks.
You damn right, that's my homeboy. Shit.
Okay.
Damn right. What's going on, my guy?
Evening. How y'all doing?
Wow, shit.
Greetings,
Mr. That's unfortunate.
My guy.
All right. So have y'all been? Welcome to the pod. I'm gonna go ahead and dive in because it's 7 of us, and I'm just moderating, letting y'all talk. But I know people are gonna want to get their points across. So, Ife, is there anything that you want to speak on real quick from what we talked about, or you want me to continue and bring up some new stuff?
Go ahead and continue.
Okay. Trey, you got anything? Because Trey couldn't even hold it. Trey was typing the goddamn comments, and he was about to come on in like 2 minutes. I'm
That's
like, damn, you can't even hold that shit.
That's how we do. Yeah.
First and foremost, I fully agree with what Becca had to say. A lot of people don't bring in the fact that not so much the original feminist movement, but the bastardization that happened somewhere between 78 and 83 when their message of we want to be considered equals to men versus what it then evolved into, which is the typical down with the patriarchy, we are better than men, things of that nature. When that took place, something she didn't bring up is that the feminist movement was using the stereotype of the strong black single mother raising children, but didn't dive into the fact of, well, why are these women single? Why are these women not married? Why are the fathers of these children not available? Because they busy on chain gangs. They busy doing time. They never brought up that fact, but they did end up using, in my personal opinion, a manipulating way, using the stereotype of the strong black single mother to try to further their cause. And I think in the early 80s, probably 82 to 88, the feminist movement ended up moving a lot of weight, we'll say, just by saying black women have been doing this for decades and they've been doing it all on their own. So they don't need men. Why do you? And I think there's a lot of different reasons that it ended up, and I'll I'll voice those as they go. But
I got several slides that I'm going to read it and want y'all to respond to. Aoife, did you have something? Look like you was about to say something.
Yes, those dates that Trey mentioned are very important. Something was taking place between 78 and 83, and it wasn't just the feminist movement that was deteriorating our families. There was also government policies with the welfare system were taking place at that time, but also there were policies that money was going into programs to separate Black families.
Absolutely.
So they were actually making cuts to the welfare system, but giving money to programs that would adopt Black children or remove Black children from the homes. There was also HIV skyrocketing at that time, homelessness skyrocketing at that time. There were so many attacks on the Black family between 78 and that 83 time period that we really need to get into perspective what was going on then, because to be honest, the Black family's been attacked since we've been here, since our involvement here in this country. We've been under attack, but we've always been very good at maintaining family and just picking up the pieces. But something during that time was particularly bad.
That's very accurate. We have always been on attack, and it's crazy because during slavery, after slavery, and the Jim Crow laws, Martin Luther King, the Civil Rights Movement, we've been under much severe attack, but we held it together a lot more than the last 20, 30 years. When it's not as severe, it's more like psychological, mental, and bylaws where we can't see it. It's harder to see now. Back then, we was able to see it where we could stand together. You know what I'm saying? So that's very accurate.
Damn, and that's y'all saying what 76? We didn't even get in the Reaganomics in the Reagan era because that just turn that shit to a whole nother fucking level. But I digress.
78 to 83, the time that Ife was talking about was the initial buildup of the project mentality.
Right.
A lot of Black community ended up getting put together, and the concepts of community came back to the Black family. I think that was the third time in that timeline that they came back. But unfortunately, it was pretty much to corral us into one place as the drug epidemic started sweeping in, getting pumped in by the government.
Definitely by design.
I want to add something to what Trey just said, because everyone making great points. And thank you all for tuning in tonight to the show. Thank you all out there, Facebook. Thank you everybody on YouTube. Our supports on the front end and the back end. Thank you all for tuning into the show tonight. This is a very good topic that we wanted to dive into. But everyone made a very valid point on every aspect of the different attacks. If we have to look at the timelines, you have to acknowledge the evolution of how those attacks were made, right? We talked about the Jim Crow era. We talked about the 80s, the Reaganomic era. And we're talking about now where things became a little bit more desensitized, and it became more of a classical conditioning. Because if you guys go back to the old TV shows, right, the Cosby Show, apart from the fact that what Bill Cosby did,
Family Matters,
the concept of the Cosby Show, concept of Family Matters, even the concept of Gina and Martin, their relationship,
even Good Times,
Good Times,
during the struggle.
Right, during that time, during those moments, even shows like Saffron and Son, those shows always had a message where it showed how we were strong. It showed us being intelligent. It showed us being in a situation where we were building community. And then there was an evolution in TV where we started being shown as being ratchet. We started showing as being argumentative. We started showing, and again, I'm not a big Tyler Perry fan. Not bashing anyone who is, but a lot of Tyler Perry is big on the Black community. But if you look at a lot of his shows really are very stereotypical, and they're very in the same vein as that that classical conditioning to make us look as if you should not have. And again, I don't want to disrespect anybody and what they do, what they live. That's showing you, but a lot of his shows created a divide. You started seeing more men and men, women and women, and you no longer saw man and woman, children, and people being successful in a household like the Cosbys or like Family Matters and so on and so forth. Family Matters had a father who was a cop. You know what I mean? Black father is a cop. Bill Cosby was a doctor. Claire was, I think she was a lawyer, right?
Lawyer.
So it gave us, our generation, because we're all around the same age, I would have to assume, it gave our generation opportunity to say we can be that or we can be this. This new generation, what we're and 227 showed a hardworking family. Even on the jump, moving on up, that was showing a hardworking family, right? But now we don't have those. We don't have those. Yeah. We don't have those shows anymore. They are replaced by the Tyler Perry shows. The have and the have-nots, stuff like that.
Love and hip hop and reality shit.
Yeah,
right. And we have the reality TV things of that nature that shows a light of a microscope, right? Like Trey said, the projects. The whole concept of project was to put people in the projects because they are a project. Black people are a project to us. We're going to put them here and allow them to cannibalize each other. We're going to put them here and allow them to self-implode because there's nothing else that they can do. They have to lean on the drugs. They have to lean on welfare. They have to lean on all of these things because we took away everything else. We took the factories out. They can't lean on that anymore. Go back and look at Tulsa. What happened in Tulsa? They took away everything that was actually built so you can start figuring out how to survive. And only to give you a way to survive. Right. And they start planting these objects inside the projects for you to have to survive the only way you know how to. So now it strips away the fabric of what Black community looks like and what the Black family looks like. Because now, in my last point, now we're starting to glamorize other things as opposed to glamorizing what a true family structure should look like. It doesn't look good no more. And it's okay because now people feel like, yo, that's the new norm. That's how things should supposed to be in this day and age. And that's not how it is because now we're moving so far away from our roots, moving so far away from our ancestors and our grandfathers, our grandmothers, to now we in a whole different la-la land about what relationship and what community looks like.
But you know what, Sean, just to bring up a quick point, this is a conversation that was mentioned recently while everybody was dealing with the Bill Cosby situation. Like you had mentioned about the Cosby shows and how we saw a doctor and a lawyer together in a family, whatever. But a more updated recent conversation of that is, although that was good to see on TV, that was not realistic. It was something to aspire to, but a lot of people looked at the Cosby Show and it was like, it's cool on TV, but that's not real life. You're not going to see a doctor and a lawyer put together in a family. A lot of people now, this is not the understanding when the show was on TV, because we all watched it and was like, this is amazing to see this, because we haven't actually saw this. So that gave us something to aspire to. But the new generation in regards to the Cosby Show, they can't relate because they don't see that as realistic. They don't see it possible that a doctor and a lawyer could be in a family and raise a children.
Becca,
they don't see that.
And I see what you're saying, Becca, but for the new generation, that's absolutely true. But
yeah,
back in the day, on Thursdays at 8:00, I did not miss the Cosby Show. I thought that was the standard as far as what we could be. And fortunately, we watched it with my parents. So I mean, and the thing is, we don't have shows like that anymore, where you can see where the younger generation can see what an ideal family looks like. And and this is not to leave nobody out. I'm all about inclusion and all that stuff. But you can include along with, hey, this is still here too. This is still a thing that we're doing. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm gonna tell you one thing though. Sometimes you got to point out, particularly when you're talking, some of these young folks, right? And I remember having a conversation, about the reality TV, and I get it. I'm saying, reality TV is entertainment, but with with their minds, because I mean they're young, impressionable, you know what I'm saying? And I'm pointing out to, you know, one of these Love and Hip Hops or whatever, right? And I'm like, you know, that's when the cameras are rolling, right? So they get a check, you know what I mean, for to go and fight and all of that. I'm like, if you seen these people and there wasn't no camera around, they're not fighting. I mean, it's like kind of like wrestling. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, you know, when we were kids, you know what I mean, watch wrestling or whatever, right? Yo, in the ring, you know, you see it on TV, they hate each other. But outside the ring, it's not like that. They're probably best friends. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I'm like, that's what reality TV is really. But, you know, some kids think it's real. And then you just like, oh, yeah, well, I don't like such and such who stay across the street. We going to fight and then, you know, get the phone out. Everybody's recording. Everybody's
Right.
fighting or whatever.
You
But
know,
I'm just like, yo,
I think
reality
that's,
TV is not that. They don't do that when the cameras ain't rolling. They do that for a check.
Right.
They set up the storyline
right.
and all
Right.
of that. It's not a real thing. But I think, you know, some of you, I mean, for the younger generation, kind of take it like it is a real thing. You know what I mean? They doing it on TV. We
That's
doing
what
it here
they see.
in real life. You know what I'm saying? But,
Okay,
you know,
brother.
sometimes you got to explain it to them like that's not real.
So I'm gonna say something real quick because I want to respond to Becca and Stacks. I'm gonna bring my other guests. I'm gonna bring my other guests on, and then I'm gonna read three more slides. So when you said that, yeah, you know why Cosby Show first aired in what, 84? That was, anybody know? Was that?
I don't know, but every Thursday at 8 o'clock, and then different world right after that.
But I'm talking about what year? It was in the early 80s, right? I don't need exact, but it was about early 80s, I think, from like
1984.
84. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
we didn't look at that as it couldn't be possible, because during that time we still had a good amount of two-parent households. Okay, so we looked at it as possible because we still saw two-parent households in the Black community. So the only thing we was like, yo, different world told us we just gotta go to college, and then we become a doctor, and then we can find out wife as a lawyer. If you're a female, you look at different world like, yo, all I gotta do is go to college, and then I become a lawyer, and then I can find my doctor for my husband. Reason why people today is saying that's not realistic, because in the day's time, the two-parent household amongst Black communities is damn near fucking non-existent. So when you look at the Cosby Show back then in 2021, of course you're gonna look at that shit as fairy tale, because we barely see our moms and dads interact in the same room, whether it's for a graduation, whether it's for a birthday party, even something for a common event for the child, is the reason why it looks like a fairy tale now. And that's disappointing, because it's really not a fairy tale. So
it's very much possible. It's just not the norm.
Now, Merv, would you say that that's because in the
hold
breakdown?
on, Trey. Before we start,
Okay.
I'm bringing someone else on. Sean, upgrade guys to handle 10 people, right?
Yeah, we should be good. If not, I'll drop off.
Well, shit, we'll find out. We'll find that out. Ain't no anybody no drop off. Ain't no drop off. Stay your ass here.
We looking like the Brady Bunch out this bitch right now.
But, you know, hey, that mean we look like a family. God damn it.
I'm Cindy.
Your family, your fam.
Oh, there it goes.
Hi, Brady Bunch.
Didn't I tell that motherfucker Sean not to leave? So damn hard headed. All right, so I got 3 more slides. I got 3 more slides to read. And like I said, this is just to keep our minds thinking differently, so we won't get bogged down in just one thing. All right. All right. So this right here said all racial ethnic groups had more marriages than divorces. Black women were the only group that had a high divorce rate than marriage rate, with nearly 31 divorces per 1,000 married women aged 15 and older, and only 17% marriages per 1,000 unmarried women. So this is to speak on, y'all talk about feminism. In 2012, among workers ages 25 to 34, women hourly earnings were 93% those of men. In 1980, the ratio was less than 70%. So I don't think that's a coincidence where, and compared to 1980 and 2012, where the divorce rate increased. One more, then we're going to start talking again. So among never married adults ages 25 to 34, the number of employed men per 100 women dropped from 139 in 1960 to 91 in 2012, despite the fact that men in this age group outnumber young women in absolute numbers. In other words, if all never married young women in 2012 wanted to find a young employed man who had also never been married, 9% of them would fail because they're not available, simply because there are not enough men in that target group. 5 decades ago, never married young women had a much larger pool of potential marriage mates.
Good stats.
That's because I don't think marriage is the goal like it used to be.
Right.
Especially not,
I
especially not during the amount of years that we have seen the statistics increase in regards to divorces. People want to avoid a divorce so they don't get married, or the things that we mentioned before as to women being able to or wanting to do things by themselves and not feeling that marriage is necessary, not having seen examples of a successful marriage in their family. All of these reasons is why a lot of the times you will have more unmarried people with children struggling to raise their children together for whatever reason, versus getting married, having the baby, and having it and doing it in that order is not even spoken about anymore.
I agree. Because, and I want to ask Trey this, because I've heard Trey on the show before. He was talking something similar to this. What do you think happened to that, man? Why do you think that it's almost clandestine to be married? At one point, it was like that was the goal. Man, you find you a wife, and ladies, you find you a good husband, and y'all hitch up. What happened
in the black community?
In the black community.
In the black community. Make sure you say it in the black community.
In the black community, right?
Like, the black families in the black community.
Black families, right? Like, hey, you go get you a good lady or a woman, go get you a good man, and y'all make a beautiful family. And now it's almost like, nah, you can do on your own, sis. Like you hear that now. So I want to ask you, man, what do you think happened with that?
I think one of the major breakdowns that took place, especially in black families, is because of the fact that there was that lack of male role models leading up to the time frame that we're talking about late 70s, 80s, because there were no unless you had cable, there were no strong black male influences in a lot of people's lives. I think that led to a lot of kids ending up getting plopped down in front of the TV and letting it babysit them as they grew up. Yes, I fully agree that women in no way, shape, or form should not go out and look for their Cliff Huxtable, to look for their Dwayne Wayne. I fully support that. However, Dwayne wasn't that way when he started at the beginning of the show. Right. Cliff Huxtable did not start as a doctor. I think there was a lot of preconceived notions and a lot of broken stereotypes where they didn't realize or they didn't see the struggle of the family when it was just the husband and the wife, when it was just Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv, and they were growing up, making their way before Uncle Phil was a partner. Okay, but before he had the mansion, when he was still back in Philly, working as a by the hour attorney, when he was still chasing ambulances. It never, that portion of the show never got shown. Right. And I think because there were those preconceived notions, a lot of the breakdown was because of that. Because when men and women were coming out of college thinking, okay, where's my Claire Huxtable? Oh, she's working as an intern this summer. She's working for no money down, living off of the last of her student loans to pay her bills while she's trying to get a paying job at a different attorney. Where's
and just trying to survive.
Meanwhile, women are looking around going, okay, where's my Heathcliff Huxtable? He's running 418 a week in an ER as an intern and doing the first 2 years of his doctorate, trying to pay off his student loans.
So Trey,
yes.
So, can you elaborate a little bit more? Because right now, I want to make sure I understand. Because right now, so you're saying that they were making shows that created too high of expectations?
I'm not saying that the expectations were too high. What I'm saying is everything on the Cosbys, everything on 227, everything on Good Times, everything on A Different World, all that got summed up nice and neat in a 30-minute package. But it didn't show the struggle that happened after the end credits or before the beginning of the next episode's credits.
Good Times was a struggle.
I understand that. Everything got handled in 30 minutes, though.
I understand what Trey's saying.
Go ahead.
I was just saying that I understand what Trey's saying. There's something about the images of us reflected in the media. You can watch them over time. So initially, we were presented as you saw us assimilating to white culture, or some digestible for white people. As time progressed, you have more images of us, but we're not necessarily in control of these images that are mass produced and sent all across the globe, right? However, we consume these images as well. So I think it was Becca said something earlier, like something about having caught a hold of that, being proud to be a single mama thing. Like, we saw images that were presented in the media that were not accurate depictions of why we were doing something, how something happened. It was just something that was presented to us, and we kind of bought into it, even though it wasn't accurate. And we kind of started believing those things as well. And I'm saying that based on some of the more degrading images that we have these days that have become more popular, because that's the kind of stuff that sells. You want to see Black women going off on each other. You want to see, I guess, deadbeat dads. That's the kind of stuff they want to see. But these are the images that get pushed forward, and we start thinking that these are the majority of our stories. And I don't think that's necessarily true. And even when it comes to the statistics, I think we got to read those a certain kind of way, because you got to be careful about how this data was collected. You can get all this data talking about Black families being broken, but do you know about the studies that tell you that Black fathers, whether in the home or out of the home, are more involved as fathers more than any other race? Even from prison, Black dads still find a way to be there if they are in there. Like, we don't get all the pieces of the story.
So I
you are telling my story, right? Sis.
But Ife, us in the Black community, we're the ones doing more damage to Black fathers or each other or Black mothers. Is a self. We're self-killing ourselves, perception-wise and family-wise, because I posted this in a group, and one of the ladies was like, because they fell off. I was like, who are they? And her response was, well, who's not in that picture? It was a picture of a single mom and the kids. So her response was, because the Black fathers fell off. Did the Black fathers really fall off though? Or was it environmental or mental or other structures in the environment that caused that divide between black mothers and black fathers?
There's so many factors, man. I saw that, and I didn't really like that answer. And I'm not being biased because I'm a black man, but we talked about mass incarceration. But I mean, we talk about I know where I'm from, projects. One of the qualifying factors, if you go get a if you apply for an apartment, one of the things that's one of the biggest factors, whether you get it or not, they beat in your head. You cannot have a man in this place. If you have a man in here under any circumstances, we taking this shit away from you. And and that shit is absolutely all by design. You look at shit like that, you'd be like, it's almost as if it's like you seeing the shit right in front of your face, like they're doing it right in front of you, and all you can do is laugh because it's all of these things is by design. You make sure that the black father isn't in the home with the mother and those kids. Yeah. You got mass incarceration, and you have that other factor where you're empowering the single mother to say, "Hey, look, you don't need no man. You don't need nothing from that man at all. You can do this shit all by yourself." Whereas you absolutely can. But why?
Yes.
So hold up, y'all.
Why?
Hold up.
I'll let Tina go. Hold up, I'll let Tina go. Huh?
Is that then?
I said, hold on, let Tina go.
Is that them then have women being brainwashed? Because if there's two adults in the house, why do you still need assistance? So now the woman is like, oh well, I want this free money, so I'm going to abide by these rules and not have a male figure in the house. But that's a decision that woman made. Correct?
Gotcha.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Me personally, I'm not going to put it on the single black woman. It's a systemic thing. It's by design. You got to do what you got to do to take care of your kids. But at the same time, if somebody's telling you, hey, we're gonna give you this low income housing so you can take care of your family and make a way for your kids or whatever. However, if you have a man up in here, they just say a man or somebody. I mean, they typically mean the father. We want to take all this shit away from you. And what you going to do in that situation if you got to take care of your kids or whatever? If you need shelter and all that shit. So it's by design. It's definitely systemic. I'm not gonna blame. Single mothers got to do what they got to do at the end of the day. So I mean,
wouldn't you want to be with a man who is going to help you provide?
Well, how am help you provide when I can't get no job and I'm coming out of jail?
So hold up. So let me get in between.
I'm just being devil's advocate here.
No, I get. So Tina, so check it right. And everybody that had kids, well, okay. So I was in a situation where I had a baby. We wasn't married, right? The amount of assistance that she got, like WIC, you know what I'm saying, like WIC. Help with formula and the baby shit. The baby shit is expensive as fuck. And she got a lot more because we wasn't married. If we was married when she had the baby, like she really wouldn't have got shit. And let's assume that I don't have a job. So the income is still the same. Even though it's two people together, the income is still the same. But if they see there's two people together, they're not going to help you. So it's almost like, well, hold up, you know what? We don't need to get married yet. Let's wait till you have the kid so we can get extra help. Unless you have an expendable income and you're already there where you don't need any help. But with people that have more than one kid, you got 2 kids, you got 3 kids, and that help becomes a big thing.
That sounds like a whole issue to me, especially when you got to 3 kids.
No, I'm just giving an example.
Well,
it's all by design, my opinion. All by design.
So, because I feel like I'm not knocking nobody that's on welfare or none of that public. I mean, the assistance all out. I'm not knocking that. But I thought the whole thing was to use it and eventually get to where you need to get and get off it. Not let me go continue to lay down and have more kids. And then now the love is gone because, okay, babe, we got kids, but we can't do this, and a third. We can't do what we need to do as a family because you can't be in the household because we need this money from the government.
Mm-hmm. So
have more
exactly
kids.
the
Then why are
mindset.
you having the kids?
In the first place.
Thank you.
One, I could
Right.
get two. But once you get to
Well,
three,
hold on. Well, hey y'all, I think let's not change the narrative. This is not about having kids. All right, this is because I feel like the narrative's being changed right now.
But what I did want to say when I was asking Trey when he said certain things wasn't showed on the show, yeah, as far as the Cosby Show, yes, but I feel like wasn't it shown through like Sandra and Elvin and Denise and her husband? Like, didn't they show their struggle before they became who they were? I just wanted to put that out there. I may not have
Through Elvin and Denise,
Claire,
through Elvin and Denise, I will say yes. With the fact that they got out of the house, they wanted away, they broke off to make their own path. I will say that yes, it was shown. As far as yes, it was shown, but their relationship was not a focal point. I remember maybe 2 episodes where you actually got to see Denise's house. And one of those 2 episodes was the remark that they didn't want their child and her husband to live in that kind of situation. So they ended up providing money to get them out of that apartment.
Yeah.
All right.
I think
So
Denise
let me.
was in a trailer and Sandra and Elvin lived in an apartment with no electricity or something like that.
Denise's issue is a whole nother bag of worms because she married a military man that already had a child. That's a whole different argument with me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also, and let me
real quick, in Good Times, the only way that they got out was because what's the daughter's name again?
Who, Thelma?
No. Yeah, Thelma married the football player.
Yeah, but he busted up his D before he got rich.
He didn't go nowhere.
The end,
they didn't get out.
The last episode, he was the last season he was training. He got back better. He got signed by the Bears, if I wasn't mistaken. And they didn't show them moving out. But even Walona, all of them got an apartment in like a high-rise building, and it showed that they were going to make it, and that's how they ended Good Times.
So y'all, let me say something real quick because I want to make sure we stay focused on what we're talking about. Even with the Cosby Show showed a black family unit. Good Times showed a black family unit.
True.
All of those shows showed a black family unit, and the topic of tonight is we have strong black family units. 60s, 70s, 80s. Today, our black family unit is struggling. That is the topic of the show tonight. Let's not get sidetracked. You know what I'm saying? I'll change the narrative. That's what we're asking. How did we go from?
So what about Blackish?
It's not an accurate depiction.
Oh, I love that show. That's a really good show for this era. Love it.
Blackish.
That's a really good positive show. I love that show.
Here's my thing, real quick. You see how, like you said, Becca, how like we look up to those type of shows and stuff like that. I feel like the celebrities now that are the directors and all that other stuff that are making the Tyler Perrys and stuff like that, they could change the dynamic. They could start making shows where they're showing a loving black family and still give people hope. They could give the new generation hope. It don't have to be.
They won't make no money though. Those shows won't last. They won't last long enough.
Like we too deep into the ratchet era where people love that ratchet shit nowadays.
But here,
I don't think it's that.
I agree.
But you know what? Here's another thing, where that existed before and doesn't exist now. I'm like a lot of us, had extended family. You know what I'm saying? We had extended family, growing up. A lot of these kids today don't. You know what I'm saying? So when they get somebody who's actually not their family, and I'm talking immediate family, because a lot of families like, oh, I don't bang with them. And this might be their cousin or their uncle or their auntie or whatever. And don't bang with them. Whoever in my crib, I'll bang with them. And I might not even bang with them like that. But that's it. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't no extended family or nothing. So sometimes, you meet a kid, and I'm like, kids, I've been their coach and stuff like that or whatever. And it was just like, man, so I'm the first person to some of these kids that is like extended family. Like this somebody I can actually go and talk to. you know what I'm saying, who's not my immediate family, because anybody else, I don't talk to them. I ain't comfortable talking to them. I ain't talking to them. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, you know, me growing up, I had extended family, not even people who related to me, just people who, you know what I'm saying, knew my peoples or they knew me or something like that. So I'm just like, man, you know, it was like a lot of different perspectives offered. There's a lot of different, you know what I mean, avenues that they pointed to where you could do this and maybe you could do that. And maybe you don't have to be in so much trouble or whatever. Not to say that'll stop you from getting in trouble, obviously. You know what I'm saying? You know, given my situation, but I'm just saying, at least, you know what I mean, really make you think. Now it's like, it ain't nothing, you know, kid, you know, a lot of kids just out there. You know what I mean? Nobody, you know what I mean, really got them or nobody even wanting to even step in. So I'm just saying,
That's
you know,
because we
that
strayed
been
away
broken too.
from the village. What you're talking
Yes,
about
God,
is the village.
yes.
We've strayed away from the village because we it's easier again to handle it yourself. So a lot of it can also be a protection because you know, we do know of those situations where children have been harmed by family members. So, and that unfortunately is our history as well. So you have a lot of the times where people will keep their children away for protection, right? But then you also have a situation like one side of my family, it was very heavy into drugs, right? So as I grew up, I did not spend a lot of time. I didn't spend any time with them alone. Um, and I definitely didn't spend too much time with them because what they were doing was something my mother did not want me around, you know, and neither did my dad, you know. So between the drugs and the alcohol and their lifestyle was not something that I was even around like that. So I'm not really that close to my mom's side of the family for that particular reason. Now, my father's side of the family, we would drive 12 hours to see them all the time. All the time. My cousin Stacks could tell you, we was down south every winter for Christmas. My dad will drive his old Chevrolet 12 hours from New York to Georgetown, South Carolina. And we did not even see our family that was, what's up, town? And did not even see our family that was 10 minutes away. And it's because my father grew up with the understanding of village. So even if the village was 12 hours away, we drove to the village. And when we went to Georgetown, my father and my father did not keep an eye on me because they was not worried. Any adult that was around, they had full reign to wrap my ass up if I was acting up. And my father would be like, oh, well, nobody told you to misbehave. Like auntie, whoever, uncle, whoever, it could be a neighbor that's been living at the house for 30 years. They was able to chastise me. I didn't know who such and such was, but all I knew was they was going to tell my dad, and that was going to be my ass, Mr. Postman. So I was like, let me not even try my father or my mother and behave. So that knowledge of village is gone.
Yeah,
so,
the village is definitely gone. Let me read some more stuff. So I want to keep us thinking of different stuff, all right? Still the proportion of blacks who are poor is lower today than in 1960, and blacks' median household income after adjusting for inflation is higher. Black marriage rates began to fall even while the black middle class was growing, and it continued falling after 1980, even as black men's unemployment rates and real wages improved. Other explanations for black-white marriage gap focus on additional constraints on availability of partners for black women. For example, women tend to marry partners who have accumulated at least as much schooling as they have. Among both blacks and whites in the United States today, young women tend to be more educated than young men. This constrains the pools of desirable partners for marriage. But the education gap between men and women is larger for blacks, making this constraint particularly important for black women. Moreover, rates of intermarriage among blacks differ substantially by gender. Black men are more than twice as likely as black women to marry someone of a different race. And this too is a constraint of the pool of potential partners for black women. And this right, declines in Black women's marriage rates between 1968 and 1996 don't track changes over time in women's wages relative to men's. Marriage rates fell while the female to male wage ratio remained similar across time. Moreover, other analysis show that both women's and men's earnings are positively associated with marriage, and that the positive association between women's earnings and marriage has been increasing over time, suggesting the argument of gender specialization.
I think that starts to dip into the I believe that dips further into the ideal that men not being the breadwinner at home. With the women that I've dated in my life, none of them, and I will say none of them, have wanted to look at me as a potential partner unless I was making equal to or more money than them.
Right.
Because
do you consider that to be a problem?
And
what was that?
Consider that to be a problem, though?
When I was looked at as being less of a man because of it, yes, I find that to be a major problem.
I do feel, Tina, I'll say this, and you can respond. Trey, and what I just read, I do feel that is also a factor on why the marriage rates is low now, because back
and the divorce rate's high.
And divorce rate high because women, since women has gotten into the workplace more and more, women have started earning more and more, and Black women are one of the fastest out of all the genders, as far as like men, women, Black, white, Japanese, Black women are one of the fastest growing as far as education and money. Well, a lot of Black women are starting to make more than men. So, like Trey said, there is some Black women that starting to look at Black men. If they don't make a certain amount of money, they're not marriage material. If they don't have a certain type of job, they're not marriage material. If they do marry them and then go above them, they're not looked at as the leader of the household. All of those things leads to not getting married or higher divorce rate. So it's almost like this is almost similar to when Black people was able to finally shop in the white stores, and the Black economics decreased. We got more rights as Black people, but the Black economics decreased because we started sharing between the white stores and the Black stores. So the whites was getting more money because the whites were still going to the whites, but now they're getting some of the Blacks just so we could feel equal and kill Black economics. So when you look at what we're talking about right now, Black women are starting to make more money. They're starting to get better positions. So it's supposed to be equal, but now it's almost being like they're becoming more and looking at the husband as less if they're not making as much or as educated.
What happened to love, man? What happened to love?
Love is not enough, Tina. Love is not
certainly
enough
ain't.
for marriage.
You know what I mean?
Love
Shoot,
is not
the way they put it out there.
The other thing that got brought up in those.
Whoa. We got too many people to go. Wait.
You could be in love and homeless as fuck.
When you walking down that aisle, what you thinking about? Money?
Not being homeless.
Tina.
Shit.
Some people are though. Some people are though. Walking right down that aisle like, I'm gonna be rich.
So
he got money.
Let's say they was just thinking about money. How is that supposed to even still work? Because what about, okay, we making this amount of money together. I make 6 figures, you make 6 figures, this and the third, but there's no love. The relationship still ain't gonna work.
So
no,
I won't say something, and Beck, I want you to go next. I won't say something, and Beck, I want you to go next. The one thing that's still similar from the 1960s and the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000, 2010 to 2020. If the guy makes a certain amount of money, the woman is going to be willing to be with them or put up with more if they're making a certain amount of money. And right now, in today's money, like in the 60s, it might have been equal. Love and money might have been equal. I think love probably had advantage. But from 1960s, this is love, this is money. From 1960s to now, it's going like this, where money has become the trump as far as like marriage or marriage material. It's not love. It's like, yo, if you got that money, sooner or later, I will fall in love with you. As long as we got a nice house, nice car, I don't have to worry about no bills. I don't have to worry about the lights getting cut off. Because like Stack said, love will get you on the fucking bus if we need to go somewhere.
Yeah.
One word.
Because it's easier to cry in a big house than it is in an apartment. I can go ass in a BMW faster than I can in a Accord.
Right. It's Stack. It's Stack. I gotta say, remember on Benny the Butcher? He's like, yo, you want to cry in this Maybach?
Hell yeah! One-way flight, my favorite track off the year. You gonna cry in this Merv? You gonna cry in this Toyota or this Maybach?
Or the Maybach.
Now, I will tell you, y'all know the biggest issue. Y'all know the biggest issue nowadays is marriage is considered a business decision. Fuck love. I'm sorry, Tina, but that's just the way. Nowadays, marriage is a fucking business decision, especially when you got a man. He getting that paper. You got a woman. She getting that paper. They might be in love than a motherfucker, but they thinking, you know, what the fuck is going to happen if we do go down this road called holy matrimony and shit don't pan out? Now, you would think that if both of them getting that paper, you know, we just going into marriage, we just leave this marriage and what we came out with. Now you got kids involved and shit like that. So people are actually, to me, people are scared to get married nowadays. We're more educated nowadays. We getting bigger bags nowadays as black people. So motherfuckers is really factoring in that when they talk. It could be in love like a motherfucker talk about, I want to be with this motherfucker for the rest of my life. But if this shit don't work out, I know that my check is going to be all kinds of fucked up when that alimony and child support come a calling. So therefore, motherfuckers like, hey, we can be together. We don't need that piece of paper.
Man, shoot, but I think situations get misread though.
Hold on, go ahead, Mark, then Beck.
No, I just think, you know, the way, particularly, you know, with black folks and thinking about getting together, man and woman, it could be situations that's misread. Like I remember talking to my god sister about this guy, you know, she was dealing with, right? She was dealing with it for a minute. And I was just like, well, what happened? You know what I mean? Oh, well, you know what I'm saying? I think he was trying to control me, right? And then she kind of told me the situation. I was like, well, it just seemed like he was like suggesting something. I don't think it don't look like that, right? And she was just like, oh, you're a man. You know what I'm saying? Of course you're gonna side with him. You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to explain it to her, like I just don't see it how you see it. You know what I mean? But when it comes to like, you know, marriage or getting closer or whatever, you know, some people really just look at shit and just be like, yo, they gonna try to find a way out of it. Like, I ain't doing that. So I'm like, you see that happening. I'm like, I mean, I've done it too. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't no stranger to it. It's just like, man, when I look back, like, damn, she was trying to really tell me something for my own good, but I thought, she was just trying to nag me or whatever, and I had to run. I was just like, no, we're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? But when I look back, I'm like, damn. All right. I think I fucked that up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I still want to get married for love.
Hold on. So I'll say one thing, and I haven't heard from Aoife in a while. She be saying some shit. So, hey, Tina, let me tell you. So, black people get married for love. A lot of the other races, I don't know if you ever saw Game of Thrones, but Game of Thrones, they have people get married to unite the house to become more powerful as a family. You know what I'm saying? They don't give a damn about that love. They'll tell their son or daughter, like, yo, I didn't love, just like it coming to America, like, yes, this is a race, but what if I do not love her? I didn't love him at first either, but I learned to love him. White people get married, yo.
Shout out to House Stark, by the way.
That's the judge's son right there. All right.
Shout out to House Stark.
Oh, yeah, that's the judge's son right there. I need you to date him. Like, that's the judge's son. That's the lawyer's daughter. Yo, I think our kids will be good together. Judge and the lawyer, family, boom. Y'all should get married. Is it for white people and other races? A lot of times it is a business decision. They look at what family background you come from, what they bring to the table. Am I going to be struggling? You got some kind of influence. Black people have been getting married for love. And look, based off these numbers right here, it looks like love is not enough, because based off the whites getting married as a business decision, their divorce rates is better and their marriage rates is better. Just a thought. I want to hear from Ife, because I haven't heard anything from you in a while.
Well, considering that Black folks tend to get married for love, I think one of the important things that's missing these days is something that Mark brought up, the idea of extended family. When we were looking at that picture of the woman and the kids, and people are saying that's the new Black family, that's not the Black family. Not even the image of the man, the woman, and the child is the image of the Black family, or of what we would have considered the Black family, because it extends beyond that. The concept of family, or even a marriage, that takes more than just those two people to support in our cultures where we come from, like from our roots, not necessarily in Western civilization, or like how we experience marriage today, which is more so trying to catch up with white people who are, like you said, marrying strategically, or they have been, even though we do have a class of bourgeois that's been doing that. You know, we got that in our mix as well. But I kind of feel a little weird about this conversation, because I feel like if any demographic is going to marry for love, that's a Black woman. No matter if she's making a certain amount of money or not, she's more likely than anybody else to marry for love. But she doesn't have as many options. That's what it is. So I don't think it's necessarily so that Black women don't want to get married. We're talking about what options they have.
Okay. Tina, you want to say something?
Well, here's the thing. I'm Caribbean, right? So I get what Mark is saying to an extent, but I have my extended family, and we still extended, even down to the little ones, and they got me and people in my generation to extend to. So I mean, I can't really relate. I can't relate, but I can speak for that part. I don't know about if you're trying to break it down Caribbean wise or from different cultures, this and the third. But our family is, I can only speak for me, my family, and we're extended still.
All right, Trey, I saw your hand up.
One of the things that got brought up in the snippets that you brought up that I wanted to bring to light is kind of goes into what Ife said as far as Black men in that time frame being more liable to marry outside of the Black community. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this is a real touchy subject with me. My biological mother is white. I was born in 1980. Where I was born as evidence of a crime in progress. In 1980, in Petersburg, Virginia, it was still illegal for a Black man and a white woman to have a child.
Just 1980. Crazy. Okay.
Right. That's only 40 years ago.
Just 40 years ago.
What irritates me about that, and why a lot of the statistics I've been looking at that on some of the graphs that you've been put up, starting when those graphs, or looking at the time frame that those graphs were looking at and going into the numbers and trying to figure everything out, I was not considered a Black male. I was 12 years old before the military had medical forms that included the fact that there were mixed children. Okay. Prior to that, 1990 and earlier, the form, what race are you, was white, non-white, Black, and had a little paragraph after that where if your father was black, you were considered as being black. Now, I don't know how many of y'all remember those forms, but I remember filling those forms out when I was still applying for my first job at 15, outside of military bases, growing up.
Yep.
Wow.
So there was a lot of things that I ended up having to go through. Society saw me as being a black male. Racists definitely saw me as being a black male.
Right.
White saw you as a black male too.
But the issue that I had to run into was Becca might have seen me as a black male, but there were a lot of black females that did not see me as being a black male because my mom was white.
Wow.
Listen, I just had this conversation before this pod started.
There were a lot of people that didn't consider me black enough to speak on black issues because my biological mom is white. And my major response to that has been the very same since I was 15 years old and said it for the first time. If some redneck in North Carolina is going to call me a nigger, just like you, why are you arguing with me about whether or not I'm black enough to speak on this?
Wow.
I'm not. I think a lot of the statistics that have been brought up, a lot of the graphs that have been shown, unfortunately, I think that's the tip of the iceberg because in the time that they're looking at recording all of that, you don't have accurate numbers.
Yeah.
Because,
and that was the crack
that's for all historical data. That's for all historical data because it was written by who? It was written by them.
Well, Trey, I'm gonna say this because I've known you for a while. Like Kanye said, he was a nigga, and I ain't saying that in no nice way.
I know I came on late, but did y'all put up Trey's comment that he put in the group?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we did.
I said he couldn't even. I like he about to come on the show. He couldn't even wait. He couldn't even hold it in.
I shared that. I screenshot it. I sent it to people that's not in the group. Like we had a whole conversation. We was just right on it. Like it was nothing to question about it.
All right. So I got these last ones. I'm gonna read these fast, and then we'll talk about that. Then we'll go to a wrap up. But it's very good discussion so far tonight, y'all. I appreciate it. No, did that one. Oh, okay. Did that one as well. All right. The rise in single-parent homes has caused a ripple effect in the downfall of the family structure. This ripple can be from the cause of divorce, death, or abandonment. Whichever the cause, the family structure will feel the loss of the absent parent in the home. Society will certainly feel the loss as well. And put that down, I can't see. This can be due to extra programs that would need to be implemented to fill the gaps of the absent parent. And that's what we was talking about earlier. Yeah. The family suffers greatly when a black male is the target, which takes him out of the home, takes him out of jobs, and takes him out of society. When this stress is put on the family, it trickles down to the behavior of the children, both at home and at school. Especially now, the schools have a zero tolerance policy for African American kids.
Listen. This part is my life.
Right
I
about that.
just dealt with this today. I just dealt with this today with my daughter and her school because of one particular kid that has come up in conversation as far as bullying her for years. And she was today's Wednesday. Monday she was called a donkey by this kid. So I emailed the teacher with my Twitter fingers. Do you understand me? And we had to have a conversation on the phone today about it because this is exactly what I mean when people say that I'm trying to find the right words. Me being mixed, right? Me being half black and half Puerto Rican. You would think that there would be no issues because where I grew up in New York, Puerto Ricans live just like black people. So there's no difference in the way that we live. There's no difference in money and lifestyle and all that stuff. Single parents in the Spanish family, single parents in the black family, all of that. But what I'm noticing is that just like that statistic that you put up, black children, no matter what, no matter the fact that they're mixed and grew up in a diverse, my daughter goes to a diverse school, the black children are still treated very much differently than any of the other students. And just like we mentioned in the beginning of the pod about the female, just like that statistic mentioned something about the stress that the removing of the black male causes in the household, that stress falls on that woman that's raising those children. Sometimes it's often a black woman. So when you are dealing with that situation after she has done all of the physical, mental, emotional, physical, financial responsibility of 1 to however many kids, after she's done all of that and then has to deal with the absentee father having to say something about the way that she's dealing with her struggle or her progress, right? Being that he was a target and somehow had to be removed from the home. And sometimes the removal of the home, she plays a big part in as well. So sometimes it's not only society. It could just be like, nigga, I don't want you here. That's it. There was no drugs involved. There was no crime involved. There was no cheating involved. I just don't want you here. And society will give that woman the max amount of food stamps, all the weight that her heart can desire, and $20 rent. So she definitely don't want you there now. She's living the life. And this is the reason why you have so many people that don't want to go to work. Because I make more money at home.
Don't forget the fact that if you're married, he's paying half of his paycheck to make sure you stay in all that to begin with.
Exactly. And this is the reason why I was trying to tell Tina earlier, sometimes it's not just about love. Money does play a big part in that situation as well, because the woman financially gets more help if the man is not involved. When you look at shelters, God forbid homelessness is the issue. There are very few, almost to none, family shelters. There are women's shelters and male shelters. There are no shelters where that family can stay together. You also have a situation where if that father is not on that birth certificate, she's guaranteed all the help she can get forever. It doesn't matter if she pops up every year with a baby. She can easily say, I don't know who the father is. He's not around. And the system will just add $300 more of food stamps, a couple more wicks, and she can get another apartment with an extra bedroom, and she's living a life. And that same dude that she has no idea who gave her that baby can come over every night and leave whenever he wants. And they got a refrigerator full of food and brand new everything in the house.
I got a question.
How it's like, I'm gonna just say it sounds like straight scam.
It's not. Whoa, hold on. Real quick. It's not a scam. And I'm gonna explain to you why it's not a scam. But I got a question. Does anybody know when welfare started? By any chance, does anybody know when welfare started?
I know blacks ain't the most on welfare. I tell you that.
Definitely, but I want to know. Cause I just want to see if there's a correlation.
1935.
1930. Damn.
1935. It was originally designed to help offset the amount for sharecroppers in the South.
Okay.
Yes.
Don't look at me like that, Stats. I read one or two books.
Gotcha. So that
too, huh?
But that welfare, welfare is not the same welfare as in the last 20, 30 years. I wish we can find out the current design of the welfare. When did that start? Because it's not a scam. The reason why, 1964?
1964.
Okay.
And Reaganomics was running in
1964.
That's is that the Nixon era or some shit like that? That would sound like.
I'm gonna read it. It says, in 1964, President Lyndon B. Johnson introduced a series of legislation known as the War on Poverty in response to a persistently high poverty rate around 20%. He funded programs such as Social Security, the welfare programs, food stamps, Job Corps, and Head Start.
Okay.
Does it say anything about when he got rewritten by Reaganomics in '84?
It got rewritten during COVID. How about that?
But
all right.
still,
So here's
that time,
a
people use that to eventually get off, not stay on, not say I don't want to go to work anymore, not say I don't want a man in the house, so I'm to do this. Like, okay, I get that it was an assist, but there's some people that are scamming.
No, yeah,
but yeah, you know what I mean? Absolutely.
Hold on, Mark.
Absolutely.
Let me respond to Tina.
My question, Murph, if we all know this, why we can't get right?
So let me respond. So,
because I got
no matter what you listen, no matter what you do, all right, no matter what program, whether it's financial aid for school, whether it's the PPP loans, there's gonna be a scammer. Black and white. There's always gonna be scammers. But let me tell you the thing about welfare, all right? Let's say you make your job, you make $4, you make $7.25. That is today's minimum wage. Okay.
That's bullshit too.
And that's been the same minimum wage for like the last 15 years. But let's say you make $7.25. Let's say you make $7.20. Hold up, y'all. Just hold up. Let me finish. Let's say you make $7.25 and you're on welfare. You got like a $50 rent. You get assistance on lights, utilities, and food. Okay. The reason how once you get on, it's so fucking hard to get off. If you go from $7.25 to $7.85, they remove your whole shit. Where you gotta pay $500 a month in rent. You got to pay $200 a month on utilities. You got to buy you got to spend. You got to develop a budget for food for like another $200. So you went from making $7.25 an hour. You only had like a $50 rent, and it was covering 80% of your bills. You getting paid 55 cents more, and they take everything from you. Where you gotta find a way to cover another $1,500 with just an extra 55 cents a month. And that's why it's so hard to get off of welfare. And it's like if somebody offer you a job making $1 more, economically you will be a fool to accept that, because that extra $1 is not going to cover that full rent, that full utilities, and that full food budget. So it's not really a scam, but the way the government have it set up, they got like, either you got to go cold turkey, or you got to find a job to make it from $7.25 an hour to $20 an hour. And how many people that's only making minimum wage can go from $7.25 to $20 an hour to be able to afford to say, fuck you welfare, I'm good? Because if you're only making $7.25,
which is why people go back into the streets and hustle.
Your skill set may not be there.
All by design, Merv.
You can't have the father in the house, because they do have it where if it's two people in the house, they will remove your benefits. Yep. So it's almost like the program that have it set up is affecting the black families. Because let's be real, I didn't grab the numbers for that. But it's more black people on welfare than any other race.
Yeah, or you hustle.
As far as welfare itself is concerned,
I'm gonna run it down. You, all y'all doing it. Y'all did what y'all had to do to survive. Y'all not on the system. This and the third. So I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I was blessed.
I'm gonna be transparent. I was in this.
I was blessed.
You got off.
Hey.
But
I
got off.
As far as social services as a whole, if there was a way for the system to police itself, I would honestly believe that the system is set up to help people get off of it. I truly would believe that. But I'm also from the generation that watched ODB take a limo to go pick up food stamps.
Hello.
You got people that have food stamps and they selling it.
I understand that, but when a multi-platinum rap artist on national television went and picked up food stamps riding in his limo.
I thought that was dope. I'm sorry. I was young back then.
That's obviously a system that's broken in and of itself.
And Mark, I thought that shit was dope.
Yo, man. I mean, you got to understand any
That's
system.
no different than 50 Cent filing bankruptcy.
Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead, Mark.
Any system that happens, right? It's always going to be people who are going to try to run game on this system, and it's going to be a handful of people who are going to be successful at running the game. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, look, I'm not giving up my $50 rent. I'm not doing none of that, right? But also, yo, this is how we gonna pimp this. You know what I mean? We gonna break this money down on the side. Yo, you know, how can I do this, right? And then, you know, you just, you kind of recruit different minds and different people how to beat this system. And then that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? Just like everybody keeps mentioning, selling food stamps. That's just one way. You know what I'm saying? Then it's a whole bunch of different hustles on top of whatever they get. You know what I'm saying?
If a man and a woman get together and hustle the system, shouldn't we consider that a family then?
Say that again, Trey.
Hey, sound like it.
If a man and a woman get together and they're on welfare,
in fear, brainwashed, living in fear, or lazy.
Man, I'm gonna say this, man. As far as what Mark said, as far as all these systems and people beating the system and getting over, more power to them. Because Lord knows the system done fucked us over for all these years we've been over this bitch. So I mean, if you can get your money by any kind of way, I ain't gonna hate. I ain't got none of that shit. I don't get none of the funds. But hey, if you can get if you get whatever money, taxes. I don't care. I mean, we don't ever ask where the money coming from until it's going back to the people. We don't ask where the money coming from. We bombing all these fucking countries. It's coming from a veteran. We bombing all these countries. We doing all this dumb shit and all this shit. We don't ever ask that. But when it's going back to helping actual fucking people, that's what we ask where the money coming from.
So hold up, because I don't want to get sidetracked. My question is, so here's my question. Is the system hurting black families? Because again, this topic is why have the black family structure seem like it has weakened drastically from the 1960s till now? Is welfare or government assistance a part of that factor why the black families seem to have not be as strong now?
Absolutely. Merv, real quick, real quick, Merv. Absolutely. And it's simply because it's kind of like a trap. Whereas, okay, I could be making $7.25 an hour, even if I'm killing it at my job and I'm offered a promotion. I'm going to have in the back of my mind, if I'm making more money, what is this going to mean for my family? Do I have to move out of government housing and pay full rent? Now I'm back struggling. So it's kind of like a catch-22. Like I can level up, but it's like if I level up, it's like, nah, motherfucker, you ain't leveling up. We gonna make you stay right the fuck here where you are dependent on these programs, and that's the catch-22. That's what we're fucking faced with.
The black families.
Somebody
yes. I mean,
I have a question
at $10 an hour. Amazon is starting off at $19 an hour.
I have a question.
Hold on, hey Trey, Tina. There's not an Amazon in every black community. Because let me tell you what you're missing. And I'm not trying to have a excuse for black people. But listen, a lot of people in the projects don't have cars. If you're on welfare, you're gonna have cars. Up north, there's a transit system. Down south, southeast, up until like maybe San Diego, there's no transit system down here. So if you don't have a car, you either gotta have a friend have a car, or you gotta get a taxi. And taxis are high. So if you're getting government assistance, you still gotta find a way to get to that job, and there's no Amazons in every hood, or every project. There's no warehouse in every project. And for example, in Georgetown, the steel mill was our Amazon, the paper mill, and the electric plant. Steel mill is closed down, shut down. The electric plant is shut down. So two of the biggest places that you can make some good money in Georgetown is shut down. There's only one thing that's holding up, and that's the paper mill And from 1980 when I was born till now, the poverty in Georgetown is very low. Georgetown is considered a poverty town now, compared to when I was there. It was considered a poverty town. Just to give you an example. Trey, what's your question?
Now, my question is this. I think we all agree that a marriage license does not make a family.
Right.
So, my question is this. If a man and a woman are in a relationship, they have kids. Going back to what Mark was talking about, people always looking to hustle and scam. If those two people are raising those two children, that is a family unit. Is scamming the system just a way to adapt to the situation that they're in order to continue and raise their family?
Yes, and I ain't got no problem with it.
I think so. I can agree with that. Anybody else want to answer that?
They don't have to be married.
I tried to get financial.
They
aid
can't
in
be
the
married.
that I need
They
to have a
can't be
kid.
married if they want to be in the system.
Ife, I ain't hear you in a while, and I love your point of views.
Yeah.
You
F
frozen?
the system. I'm for the families getting together. I don't care if you got to scam some shit. I'm for families being families. That's my priority. But I also thought it was kind of weird that you brought up the example of ODB going to pick up the food stamps. I kind of feel like that was a bit of an illusion, and I believe it was in the late 70s that they started putting out the images of like the welfare queens, and they really wanted to present an image that people who were on public assistance were just living this high life, and that's really not accurate. Even if they are scamming to get some benefits, you still not living like a high life. To be perfectly honest, ODB, he had just got out of prison. He in a group with 20 other niggas. How much money was he really getting? He ain't paid for that limo. He ain't paid for that limo.
ODB.
So I'm just saying, on that day when he rolled up to go get his food stamps, I mean, he was on point.
If you're watching the movie series right now, you know
it.
he wasn't making no money.
But you know what though? I say like this. This is one thing that I don't think is brought up. Where, how come the black families, was more and is less now? The communication, just the way for you see black people talk to each other and they in relationships. And I'm like, they talk to each other crazy. So it's just like, man, and then all of a sudden it's just like, yo, what happened to the boy you was with? Oh no, fuck him. What happened to sis? Oh, yo, I had to cut her off. Like, so you see stuff like that happening too because the communication's poor. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, now I'm gonna say like this. My parents probably had, their arguments or what they went through and all of that. But it wasn't like it was still a respect factor, for in the way they communicate and the way they talk to each other. You know what I'm saying? You don't even see that a lot nowadays. I'm like, when you see two black people together and they know how to communicate, it's almost a breath of fresh air because that's not even the norm. You know what I'm saying now? So I think that also plays a part into it.
Attack each other.
Yeah, I think that plays a part into it too.
I think
if you got people who don't know how to communicate, how you gonna be together?
So Marco, you said we say
does
fucking
that
quicker now?
woman, does that mother that's on welfare that can't have the man in the house, does she even respect that man?
I mean, probably depends on what their relation is and what he do for them. You know what I'm saying? I mean, usually that kind of goes some ways, but still communication overall between black man, black woman is not as strong as it was. You know what I'm saying?
I think that's more so because of expectations in the relationship. I think that's expectations of him looking at her saying she's not going to be like my mom, and her looking at him talking about he's not going to be my dad. Unfortunately, there's with the absence of the black father in the community, she ends up looking at him going, okay, well, he shows up and he leaves whenever I tell him to. His response is, his expectation was she wasn't going to be like like his mom, watching men go in and out of revolving door, growing up in a single household. And the response he ends up getting is, well, I show up to be part of my kid's life, and then all of a sudden it's, all right, you gotta go. How many other is she doing this with all the kids' dads? Am I the only one coming through this revolving door?
But that's a lot of assumptions and accusations. There's bitterness and resentment involved in that. It's a lot that goes into.
Oh, absolutely.
What happens?
Yeah.
What happens with single?
I got a question. I got a question, and I feel like this may ruffle some feathers. And I feel like this may. I probably should have asked this a long time ago. Compared to 60s, 70s, 80s, and to 2010s, 2000s. Is kids a part of the destruction of family structure? Let me explain. Hold up before you jump on me. In the 60s and 70s, decisions and mentality was, we're making decisions based off the mom and dad. Where the last say was the dad. You know what I'm saying? Back then it was like, long as the mom and dad is straight, it trickles down to the kids. But the decision we make is the best interest of the dad and the mom. As opposed to today, I hear a lot of the best interest, you need to make the best interest for the kid. And a lot of parents will say, whether my kid, that's more important than what my spouse.
Yeah.
And the wife says that, the mother says that a lot, where, well, now, fuck him, I'm doing what's best for my kid. But back then it was like, we're going to make decisions what's best for the adults, and the kids will be fine. So could that also be a part of the destruction of the family structure, the mentality changing from back then was like based off the adult, as long as the adult's straight, it usually trickles down that the kids will be straight. But now you put the kids above the adult, the other parent. Could that be a factor? Anybody want to speak on that?
They're not working as a unit.
Absolutely.
They're not working as a unit.
Okay, go ahead, Stacks. You seem passionate.
Here's the deal, man. My grandparents were aligned when it come to dealing with my grandparents. When it come to dealing with us, they were fucking aligned. There wasn't no negotiating, no debate, and none of that shit. 9 times out of 10, motherfucker, we done fucked up, and we gonna fix this. You know what I'm saying? But more often than not, and I see this meme out there about do you feed the fucking husband first, or you feed the fucking kids first, and shit like that.
That's just dumb.
Which is fucking the retarded fucking meme that's been circling around fucking the internet. But I think that if parents are aligned, that we definitely would do much better in our communities and shit like that. Because I mean, those are things that really need to be sorted out before you decide you can even have a kid together. Because after the fact, years down the road, and y'all having disagreements, that's problematic. That shit should have been settled while y'all was in the dating process and y'all talked about, where you want to have kids and shit like that. I mean, you should. To me, I wouldn't say perfect, but in an ideal black family where the shit is like mother, father, you got the kids, they should be fucking aligned. If they're not aligned, it's going to be problematic, and that's one of many things that lead to the divorce rate in the black community.
Yeah, I think sometimes they got to get on the same. The parents, got to get on the same page though. Like
I done seen some kids manipulate the fuck out of their parents.
Fuck them. Hey man, fuck them kids. Fuck them damn kids. I agree.
But you know what though? I'm gonna say like this. I'm like, at least just speaking for me, it was kind of like, like raising me though. And when I was going through the stage of where I just was doing my thing or whatever, it was just like my dad, talked to my mom and just like, I got to run point on this. You know what I'm saying? And my mom kind of fell in line with that because I always say my dad lived my life before I lived it.
Right.
So he knew everything, that was going to come down. So it's just like, my mom, just wanted to throw me off a bridge. Like, you know, I can't take him. You know what I mean? I just want to whoop his ass every time I see him, right? But my dad was just like, just ease up. You know what I mean? Let me, you know, and he had to kind of explain to my mom, like, you know, kind of what I was going through. And then, you know, they were able to align to raise me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You know, because my mom, you know, my mom told me to the day, you know what I mean? You was a real hard child to raise. You ain't make shit easy, you know what I mean, for us at all. But, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, but I'm glad that they, you know what I mean? You know, I was just like,
they work
man.
together.
But they work together, you know, to
she communicates. She trusted your father to lead.
But that don't happen like that now. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Tina and Mark, and this for everybody. I've seen with my own eyes where the mom has told the dad, "Don't touch my fucking child."
I'll be in jail.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Like, didn't we make them together?
Fuck you mean? Did you get this motherfucker through artificial insemination, motherfucker?
Thank you.
It's our child, motherfucker.
I've seen that with my own eyes.
Yeah, you know.
And yes, it's the biological dad. Like that's kind of with the part of the overly strong, independent black woman, single mother kind of thing syndrome, where it's like I have seen where a mother has told the dad, yo, don't touch my kid.
But once again, that goes back to the communication. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, of course she gonna say that. She don't even talk to him correctly anyway. You know what I'm saying? So of course she gonna say some shit like that. She don't have respect for him.
Clearly.
You know,
okay,
but
even
when your communication's off, this type of shit happens.
All right, hold on, Tina, go ahead.
That post that you brought up, because that ruffled feathers in the group, right?
Yep, I posted that.
My comment was, I'd make my man's plate first, this and the third. But I did follow up and say, but it really doesn't matter. Whoever gets up to make the plates, make everybody's plates. You feel what I'm saying?
Exactly.
But there was this one person that commented and said, I'm gonna make my kid's plate, period. He got his own arms and legs.
Yeah.
But that's today's mentality.
Not overall. Shit.
Majority, nigga.
I was making my own plate at 5. Like,
I
think
that's debatable. I think that's debatable more, but I do see an issue. I do see a thing where, you know, you got a man and woman that come together, you get married, and you know they have kids, and then you may have, and not just the husband, you got the wife as well, that may try to lean on, I'm gonna take the kid side over us being aligned as fucking parents, you know, and making these decisions and things of that nature. So yeah, I see that. I see that from both sides. To be perfectly honest with you.
So let me ask y'all this. I didn't look up. There's no way for stats. There's no way for me to get stats. But in the 1960s and 70s, who getting the plate first?
Dad,
dad, the big piece of chicken that
dad, right?
Chicken.
Neck bones and all type of shit going on in that plate.
Okay, all right. Seems like everybody agree. So y'all really think that's a fucking coincidence that back then the mentality was the dad get the plate first, and the divorce rate was lower, the marriage rate was higher, and staying together was higher compared to now, where it's like, yo, my kids come first. That nigga got his own hands, et cetera, and divorce amongst blacks is at an all-time high. And y'all really think there's no correlation between that mentality?
I'm still trying to figure out when kids started getting a vote on shit in the house.
Yeah, real talk. Real fucking talk.
There was a moment where Becca said that people's feelings and emotions have become involved, right? Back then, they were structured. Like,
right.
This is what it is. This
and
is
order.
What it is. Dad's going
and order,
it had nothing to do with love. This is what it is. He the breadwinner. He the man of the house. This is your father. They all sitting together, but he's gonna get served first. Right. Now there's so much bitterness. I don't like him. F that nigga. He ruined my life. I don't want him around the kids. No, I don't want you in life. I'm gonna put you on child support. Oh, that's what your father said. Oh, that's what your mother said. You ain't gotta listen to them. Now you putting your own negative energy and your own feelings and emotion and projecting it on your child because you feeling some type of way towards the other parent.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which, in my opinion, is killing the black family structure from inside out.
But that is very true, Murr. But there are outside factors that play a part in the home as well.
Man.
It was very different back
Absolutely.
then. We have to acknowledge that yes, the inside, what's happening on the inside of the home is reflect. It's like life imitating art, or is art imitating life, right? So it's like the outside factors do play a part inside of the home. The people inside the home do have an ability to ignore what's happening on the outside and govern their house the way that they want to. But it is very difficult because what happens is everything that we've discussed for the past 2 hours. If that woman is doing everything by herself without the man, then when it comes time for structure to be implemented, there's a struggle there because I could do better by myself, right? So if you're going to be around, you're going to have to add to my life, not take away from it. Or if you're in my life and my life stays the exact same, why are you here? So it's just a matter of the woman having that type of authority over the children that she has to raise by herself. So there's no recognition for the father of those children at that point because she's been able to survive and even sometimes most times better without him being there.
Most times.
Well, yeah, most times because not every single woman's story, single mother story is that she's been getting all this help from assistance without the man. Like not every single mother has that story. Some single mothers really, really do struggle. They don't have a village. They are not able to get the help that they need for whatever reason.
So Becca, let me ask you this because I want to ask you because so have you seen or experienced or do you think this exists something called like a single mother syndrome or a controlling single mother that they wanted to go their way and the reason why they're doing it, the reason why they're doing more from the dad because they don't want to do it that way because they're controlling and have the single mother syndrome. Like,
there's men like that too. Because if our kid is not doing right in school, and I put them on punishment, and then they go to your house and they get to play video games and get sneakers and all this other shit,
that motherfucker's on punishment when he with me as well.
Holiday, and now I send you over there and tell you that this child did not do this, and they are failing this, and you still spoiling them. Now there's a problem.
You're right, Regina.
I went to pick my son up to the ass whooping because you fucking up.
One sentence.
I'm gonna answer the question.
That deals with what Mark said as a communication factor right there. Because did you explain to me what's going on? And did you talk to me be like, listen, this is what's going on with our child. How you think we should handle it? I think it should be on punishment. He shouldn't do this right here. Are you doing that? Or like, yo, he come over there, but he can't do this, he can't do this. And you're telling that father what the kid can't do. You didn't discuss nothing with him. So it depends on.
I'm gonna explain that mentality to you.
That's the difference between co-parenting and a single parent.
Right. Yes, that's what I said. The single mother syndrome.
Right. I'm gonna tell you about the single mother syndrome because I've had it, and I'm just newly coming away from that, meeting my husband. So having my daughter, right? I was raising her by myself without giving too much information, but also being transparent. Her father just wasn't involved, right? A lot of in the very beginning, it was great. I have a new baby, but that new baby feeling left very quickly, and I was left to raise her by myself. He was not interested because he didn't have to be interested. There were other factors that were involved that made it very easy for him not to have to partake. A lot of it was because I didn't push hard enough. I was just like, if you want to be over there, go ahead and be over there. It's less stressful for me. So go ahead. there was also many children involved. So you can only divide that pie as a father between so many kids, but so much, right? So yeah. So all of that contributed to me having to raise my daughter by myself. Because I had to govern my life and govern her life and make every single executive, mental, emotional, financial decision. When he decided to want to be a father or even acknowledge my child, it had to be on my terms, because what you're not going to do is step in and out of my child's life. And it wasn't the physical danger that I was worried about, because I didn't think that he would do anything physically to her. It was the emotional, mental danger that he presented with the in and out. You pop up every 2 years, send a birthday text, disappear for another 2 years, send me a dumbass WhatsApp message because you can't afford a phone, so you have to only speak to your child when you're on Wi-Fi. All of these things mattered. So for me, the single mother syndrome was I make all the decisions for me and her. She is sustained and alive and healthy and well because of everything Rebecca has done. So when you decide to acknowledge her finally, oh, you have a child named Jasmine, you can't just pop in and out and then also make the decision to say, I'm going to put this rule into place when you haven't been around at all. In her 11 years, she's only seen him a few times. He only pops up through text message when he's on Wi-Fi, because that's the only way that he can, every 2-3 years. So when it comes time for him to want to pop up and be a dad and send her a text message, tell my daughter I said happy birthday, or want to WhatsApp video call her because that's the only way that you can, and then you put all her other siblings on the phone to say happy birthday to her, and you only on screen for 5 seconds. Hey, happy birthday, daughter. Listen to your mother. Goodbye. And you pop up again 3 years later. Hell no. So that is the single mother syndrome. What you're not going, at that point, she then becomes my child. So when you call my child every 3-4 years, absolutely, I'm calling the shots.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So and so your situation, like I said, I don't know your situation personally. So that based on what you just said, I could get that. I can see that. But you have some where it's my child because they're upset with the dad, or they want to control the dad, or they know that their kid is the only way that they can get at that dad by using the kid. So it's my child, I'll keep my child away from you to hurt you, etc. So that is more kind of like what I was referring to. It's like, okay, since we're not together, or it's your child because we're not together. But when we was together, it's our child. But because I didn't leave you, I didn't leave my child, I left you. I didn't divorce my child, I divorced you.
Oh
that's
yeah,
that's more what I was referring to.
I seen this play out. I seen this play out.
Their father.
Yeah,
children that want to live with their father, and the mom is like, no. And the father is acting.
Yeah, I seen that play out. Like one of my best friends, man, went through a 10-year court battle for my godsons. 10 years. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, she was bitter, but I understand, because I'm like, he can be an asshole. I'm just like, man, if you're a friend of mine, most likely you have some asshole syndrome in you. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I get it. You know what I'm saying? But like, he did everything that he was supposed to do as a father, though. I'm just like, now as the man, he still has some growing to do, still needs some growing to do today. But as a father, though, he really took that serious to be the best father he possibly could be. And I'm just like, he used to go to my dad all the time. Like when he first had the boys, and now they're almost grown, but I'm just like, yo, he used to go to my dad all the time just about advice. You know what I'm saying? He was just like, yo, you the only father figure I ever had in my life. So how do I do this? And how do I do it right? And all these kind of things. And, you know what I'm saying? So he was just he was real adamant about being the best dad he could be. And that was real bitter what they went through. Like, because I've been to some of them court hearings and I knew her. So it was crazy, but I'm glad that both of them are able to be amicable to each other now, but it wasn't always that way. It was hell, seeing that. But I was just like, sometimes, it just happens like that.
Okay. So let's I think we hit we could deep dive more, but I think we hit all the angles. Now there's more information with each angle that we hit, but we hit every angle as far as like the family structure over the last 60 years. Hey, Sean, come back. I don't know what happened to Ife because I would love to hear everybody parting shots.
Well, we can go ahead and do that now.
Yeah, that's why I said Sean, stats. But who will go first?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was having some difficulty. I'm sorry.
Okay.
All right, who will go first? Well, Trey,
I'll go first. To just say, mine's is short. Like I feel like I agree with Mark 100%. I feel like will we want everybody to have a family and have family structure, this and the third? Yes. Unfortunately, the way society is, it's not like that anymore. But if you are a single parent, whoever it is that's struggling, or if the father went to jail and this and the third, when you come home, fight to step your game up. And for the moms, be more open. You know what I'm saying? Communication is big. Respect is big. If you don't like each other, have that conversation, not with the child, not in front of the child or whatever. Y'all are going to disagree, but just come together eventually. You know what I'm saying? Co-parenting can work if you just get your feelings and bitterness and emotions out of the situation.
Agree with that.
Who's next? Trey,
I'll go next.
Oh.
First things first, as far as to address the breakdown over the last, let's see, running 60 years now, from 1960 to present. First things first, I truly do not believe that a marriage certificate is what makes a family. The people involved is what makes the family. To hit on some of the things that everybody said. One, make sure you and the person you're starting a family with are on the same page. Communication is key. That was said tonight. It is absolutely true in every situation. Beyond that, everybody needs to know, especially in the Black community. Everyone needs to know. If you are going to try and start a family, it is literally you against the world. Your children, although they are the apple of your eye, you need to do what you need to do with your spouse to make sure those kids are taken care of. Kids don't get an opinion until the marriage has ended. Period. When it goes to court, that's when the kids start being able to get their opinion. Beyond that, it is your responsibility to make sure that that family unit stays a family unit.
Ife, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
We wrapping up. We're doing a parting of ways shots part. So go ahead, give your wrap up.
My wrap up. So, well, for my wrap up, I have faith in the Black family. I don't want us to get too sidetracked by, our challenges. And yeah, we have some issues, but I believe that we're working on it and we're going to get right.
Okay, glass half full. I got you.
I'll go next. As far as the Black family, I think we have to understand that the Black family is not a monolith. There are so many different types of Black families and different levels that will determine what Trey said. You make the decision of what a family is. There is struggles that we deal with, but I do believe because we are, as Black people, resilient, we will get through those struggles, and we will struggle in that process of getting past that. Do I think it'll never be a problem? No. I think that this world is set up so that there is going to always be some type of struggle in keeping the Black family together. But through, practice makes perfect. So even though we've been at it 60 years and better, I think now people have the understanding of how strong a Black family is, and will work harder to get to it, as long as we try not to let the outside factors matter too much. If we govern our families our own way, it can get better.
Yeah, I mean, that's good. Hey, I'm gonna say like this, right? I just think, I mean, I think it needs to be a communication and respect level, when dealing with each other. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you have children, together. Now, if it's just, like Becca was explaining her situation, like, look, it's impossible really to make that part work. Now, when it's just that untenable, it ain't nothing you could do with that. But at least she tried. You know what I'm saying? But I was just like, most situations ain't like that. It could, it just could be a breakdown in communication. You know what I'm saying? But this man wanted to be a father to his kids. She wants or she wants, for that man to, be in her life and be in the kids' life. I'm just like, it's a way to do that, and still be respectful to one another. Y'all just might have a difference of opinion, but that can be worked out. I just think, the communication and respect is just lacking, today with most people, especially Black people, as they talk to each other. You could just see how that goes. But I think, what I'm saying, like, if we can kind of close the gap on that, we can build better structures, what I'm saying, where, like that could happen, what I'm saying? And, we'd be better off, as a family unit, if the communication's a little better. So I just think, before you about to lash out at somebody, and this is somebody, you talk to, every day or every other day, just kind of try to think about what you say before you say it. I understand some things need to be said in this rawest form, but some things don't. And sometimes, you can kind of pull back a little bit and just be like, all right, let me explain it. You know what I'm saying? And, I just think that just needs to happen more, with our people.
Stacks.
I'm not going to be long-winded. This is one of the better topics we had in a long while, in my opinion. So I appreciate the dialogue. I appreciate the people that visited. This was a really good topic. Really good layout and all that stuff. My parting shots is mainly, to me, it's all about errors, and times have changed. There's things that's been put, obstacles and paths and things that been put in our way to where it's forced that change. And I think that a lot of folks, because of those things that we've seen in the past, are scared to death of getting married on both sides. But hopefully, we could bridge that divide, come to a better understanding, and keep this thing going as far as the traditional Black family. And that's all I got. Shout out to me. My bad, man.
Oh my goodness, man! Ain't nobody give me props today, man. So I gotta give myself props.
You know what I'm saying? Underappreciated. You know what I'm saying,
Mark? I feel you on that.
You see, my man, Mark, my man.
Come on now, Team Patty's still here.
Wow,
my man Trey too, man. I don't know about Sean Murray, but hey, working on.
Wow.
Go ahead, Sean.
Man, yeah, that guy needs help. I mean, a great dialogue tonight. Everyone had great points, great valid points. At some point, the traditions, that's going to hit on this a little bit. The tradition bifurcated at some point, and we have to figure that out. Generational curses as well, because that plays a big part. And where do you cut it off? Where do you stop the generational curse, or even just a generational norm? And a lot of times we give too much credit to certain elements that created a divide in the Black families. We give too much credit to the crack epidemic, although it was major. We give too much credit to Reaganomics and things of that nature. And although they played heavy weights in those factors, they weren't the determining factor. So at some point, you have to cut off the actual, the traditional curses that were started somewhere down the line. And that was my biggest focus. Like, how can I create a whole new branch of a different type of energy for my family? Rather that's, me going back to college and finishing and getting my degree, my wife being able to get her degree and showing an example for our daughter, on what that should look like moving forward. Because we didn't see that, before us in our immediate family, from our fathers and our mothers. So it was something that was important to both of us coming up in our relationship, to be educated as much as possible, to try our best to be successful together, so our daughter can see that and they can continue to live on the Johnson tradition for the most part into a different line. And that's one of the things that I don't think we focus on enough in the Black communities, as far as how can you stop the normal aspects of things that probably was cursing your family. Not going back, getting a higher education, not putting yourself in a situation to set up things for, your grandkids, your kids, etc. So again, really great dialogue tonight. I thank you all for just being able to be open and vulnerable with some of the things you shared from your personal experiences. Trey, I always enjoy your commentary on different things, being a military guy and just being able to kind of, you shared a part that we didn't know. I feel that you was like, just a light-skinned dude like Mark, but I did not realize.
Whoa, that's my guy. Don't do that.
Yeah, there you go, stereotyping, man.
I said light-skinned dude like Mark.
That's colorism. That's continue. That's colorism.
I mean, we all different, man. We all different.
Wow, you guys are really immature. But I was saying that Trey shared that part. I didn't know that, and I'm glad you shared it, because I was born in 1980 as well, and that was knowledge for me that even in 1980 it was areas where it was still on to be together, Black and white. And I'm thankful that you shared that, because that's something I can share with someone else in my conversations with people that I run into as well. So thank you for that. But other than that, Merv, that's what I got, man.
79 is better. Y'all was almost there in 80, but
Nah, nigga.
To 1980.
It's all about the 80s, nigga. Shut the hell up.
Right.
That wasn't called for.
Yeah,
this is broken.
I agree. We had good dialogue tonight. And I think it's the kind of dialogue that was needed, and I think it's the kind of dialogue that's needed to be talked about going forward on a regular basis. Because this is there's a lot of nuggets tonight that I feel like this show should be shared with a lot of different amongst the Black community, because we talked about a lot of different angles tonight. I appreciate Trey coming on, because I mentioned it to Trey last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, that we're going to do a show like this, and he said when we do it, hit him up. I hit him up, and he came on. Same thing with Ife.
Anytime.
Yep, appreciate it. And hey, don't say that, because I'll pick up your goddamn offer.
What's up?
Yeah.
You heard me, Trey?
Where's Ife?
What?
I know motherfuckers who know motherfuckers. That's all I gotta say.
I said, what up?
It's not about you, though.
I will. She watching right now. She been quiet tonight.
Hi,
Sam.
Sam.
So yeah, so good dialogue, and I'm gonna be real with y'all. This shit ain't complicated. The family, the Black families person ain't complicated. The more things change, the more things stay the same. And when I say that, the main thing that needs to change is the mother and the father interaction, community, and respect level. Okay, the kids should not have more say than the father, or vice versa. if the mother and the father just be that's all they gotta do. The mother and father just gotta be on the same page to create the family. Even if you get divorced or if you get separated or y'all not together, if y'all still agree to be like, yo, the kid be like, hey mom, can I stay home from school tomorrow? Hey, go here. Call your dad. Dad don't live here. You hear what the fuck? Call your dad. See what he says, and then me and him will talk about it. You don't have to be in the same household to have that family structure. Now it's easier if you're in the same household, but like I said, this shit ain't complicated. It's not rocket scientist. The mother and the father, if they agree to respect each other, they can have that family structure and everything will trickle down. And if you teach that to your kids, you could break the family curse because you show that to your kids. And if the kids always see the mom and dad on the same page, guess what? Whoever they deal with, and when they have kids, they're going to make sure that they are on the same page in front of their kids. And when they have kids, which is your grandkids, when they get married, they're going to make sure they're on the same page and they're on the same page, same fort against the kids, where the kids can't divide and they don't use the kids as pawn against one another. So it's not difficult. Just the mom and the dad need to be mature enough to have the respect for one another, even if the relationship don't work, but still keep that family structure as a strong unit as co-parents and respect each other and have a united front for your kids, and that will work towards bridging the gap and fixing the family structure and the generational curse from started back from the over the past 50 years. And that is all I got.
All right, y'all.
Yo, shout out to all of our listeners, YouTube. Shout out to Facebook Live. Shout out to Blackjack TV. Shout out to Prime Wagner. Shout out to those on the front lines behind the scenes. Shout out to all of you guys who come on tonight. Shout out to everybody who's rocking with us, Instagram, Twitter, the guys podcast. And shout out to everyone who hasn't rocking with us from day one and those who are rocking with us in the future and so on and so forth. Great show tonight. Great topic. Thank you all out there. Sam Kelly, thank you for the notes. Anybody else who's watching, FA, wherever you at, thank you for hopping on tonight. And we really appreciate you guys. Peace.
Peace, y'all.